one against Kobe or Michael Jordan, and they'd lose every time, but they made them better. That's something that I would relish.
Man, it's great to have you. Ace Koenig, one of the sharpest shooters in women's basketball. Man, if you hadn't had a chance to see her play, look up some highlights, and I am personally looking forward to following your journey wherever it takes you, and hopefully it brings you back to the WNBA. Thanks a lot for coming on. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Got more stuff for you, folks. Stick around.
You're tuned in to the Daily BS. Sports and culture combined into one.
We are rolling right along here on the program. Thank y'all for joining us. So I'm going to go off the board a little bit. I had a very wonderful guest, and her daughter joined me for a team interview. And I said, well, when can I get you back on the show? And she says, I'm ready anytime you want. Who do you want to join me this time? So, of course, me being who I am, I said, bring your husband. Let's really get down to some business. Shirley Walker King and her husband Vince are now here. How are you guys?
Hello, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous. It's great to have you guys on, and I'll tell you what, you guys talking marriage in a podcast, sign me up, please.
We can do that.
That's the least we can do. I mean, we haven't stayed married this long not to be able to talk about it.
So true. So many of my friends followed when I got married last June, and it's been, I got to be honest, part of it's been a struggle because we're just getting used to North Carolina, but outside of that, I can't do anything without my Dr. K next to me. I mean, it's a team effort. It truly is.
That's right. And that's what I always tell folks. I mean, it's like it's a business. You know what I mean? Being in the marriage is a business. So you always have to consult with your partner pretty much on things that you do, and sometimes, we got married a lot at a young age. So, at that time it was guys making fun of you, being 22, 23 years old, of course, Vincent can't do this, can't do that.
Right.
But I always kind of consulted with my wife with things. So I, kind of didn't care about that. And not to just say everything was smooth. Of course, we had our ups and downs, but I kind of got it after a minute of a couple bumps upside the head. I got it.
Nothing that left a permanent mark. He's okay, folks. He's okay. Okay.
Figuratively speaking, okay?
I understand.
And I think there's a statute of limitation. He can't press charges now anyway.
Because A, y'all have been married too long, and B, there are kids that are turn up as witnesses and say, look, he did this and I can prove it. And I mean this jokingly, of course, being not only a husband but also a parent, but your kids will look at you and look at the husband and say, yeah, he did it. And running joke that my wife and I do all the time. And you got to have humor in a marriage. You absolutely have to. So one of the running jokes that my wife and I do, and we do it all the time, if something happens where she drops something or something accidentally breaks, she'll just walk by me and said, it's your fault, right? And that's been our running joke for the 2 years we've been together.
Yeah, that's just something us men have to deal with. Okay, I get that too. It's my fault, and my daughter and wife will look at each other and shrug their shoulders, like, "What? Yeah, it's your fault." Okay.
We have that thing that we women can always go to default on and say, "Hey, you're the man of the house. It's your fault."
It's so true. Like I said, my wife teases me all the time with it, and something will happen in the house. I could be, and Vince, I know you've gone through this. I could be on the other side of the house doing something completely different, and my Dr. K will just walk by me and she'll show me something she dropped, and she just goes, this is your fault, right? And my brain's thinking, how? I'm on the other side of the house. Now I just look at her and go, I didn't do this one. She says, yes, you did, and I can prove it. I said, all right, prove it. And then she'll go, I don't have to prove it. And we'll both just start laughing.
Hey, like you said, you have to keep the humor.
You have to.
You definitely have to laugh, especially in these times. So, we just find any little thing and we can kind of laugh at it and keep the peace.
She's also my producer. She just yelled in my ear. She goes, "I'm always right, and you're always wrong." And I'm sitting there laughing about it because, again, and it brings up a very important point that we talk about all the time. You have to keep the humor in the relationship. You absolutely have to, because if you don't, the relationship will erode very quickly.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I think that people struggle with the most when they go into a relationship is at the beginning is because you're two separate individual people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to learn how to merge your relationship into one.
Mm-hmm.
And as an individual, we always want to be what? We always want to be right.
Right.
No matter what, you want to be the one who's the last woman or man standing. You want to be the one who was right. You want to be the one who knew the most.
Mm-hmm.
And in a relationship, and this goes more for the women than the men, sometimes I have to tell them, you have to decide, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yeah. And
pick one.
I decided.
Pick your battles.
Yeah. I decided I want to be happy. And after
That's right.
After I met my Dr. K, I have been truly happy for the 2 years we've been together and the almost a year that we've been married. And it's not just about sense of humor. It's about a very simple / complex / most important thing in a relationship, a little word we like to call communication.
That's it. Communication, that's key.
It is key because she and I talk about everything, and people think I exaggerate when I say this. I'm not exaggerating. We talk and discuss everything. We talk everything out, and you have to talk everything out with your partner, because if you can't talk everything out with your partner, then who the hell are you going to talk it out to? It just doesn't fit.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, that works. Like, if you can't say that your partner is your best friend, and in the sense of not if that's the person that you're going to go get your hands and nails and everything done with, but if you can't say your partner is the best friend, then your relationship is not at a point where it should have been a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That is so true, because if you can't talk everything out, then there's your first problem. I've had people ask me all the time, how can you guys, even for the short time that you guys have been together, how can you guys smile most of the time? I said, I talk to her about everything, and I trust her enough, and vice versa. And she trusts me enough to, lean on each other. The biggest thing is with the communication, you also lean on each other. Good times, bad times, whatever time it is. When you have that, you have a very solid foundation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And like I said, you know your partner. You kind of get a vibe from them. If something, they don't even have to say it. You just know something's not right. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big thing. I can just tell when something's bothering her, and sometimes she'll need a minute to, for whatever it might be. But I just know. I mean, we'll kind of hash it out, and she'll let me in on what's going on. But you just know your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. You just know your partner.
It's so true when they need to talk to you. And something that I have been taught by my wife, she says it all the time. She says, sometimes I don't need you to fix anything. Sometimes I just need you to listen. And that was one of the most important things I had to learn with her. That's one of the most important things that I had to learn, because as men in this society, we're taught, and it's ingrained in us, okay, something's wrong with your partner, you have to fix it. No, sometimes they just need to get some stuff off their chest, and you just need to listen. That's a part I'm still learning, and I've gotten better at it. Will I ever be perfect at it? No, and I don't want to be. But when I get the clue and I see the look in her eyes, okay, I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to let her talk.
Yeah, we did a post, when was that, Wednesday last week?
Yeah.
And that's our number 10 was listen more and talk less.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we talked about. Sometimes your partner don't want you to say a word. Just listen. They'll let you know, if they want you to chime in, but just be quiet and listen.
Was it tough when you guys got together at such a young age to really, really trust each other with decisions? I mean, how tough was it for you guys to trust each other with decisions and start making them together?
Ooh, I'm gonna.
I wouldn't say it was tough for me coming from a 2-parent household. For me, it wasn't tough because I saw how my mother handled her marriages, and I'll put Jiz because she's been married more than once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, I think 5.
Like Elizabeth Taylor, Taylor-ish.
Shirley Ann Jackson Coleman, Locke Johnson Sherwood knows how to get married. Y'all not gonna talk about my mother. But the one thing that my mother did instill in me was marriage was important. And yes, she was a strong, independent woman, but she also showed me that a strong, independent woman also needs a man to support her and be with her at all times. She needs that. That's what God intended this world and this relationship how to work.
Absolutely.
So man needs woman, woman needs man. So I did learn that from my mother, and I also learned how to share in decision making with my spouse because of how I saw my mother operate. And it was a challenge in the beginning because you are so independent. When I met my husband, we met in California, technically Tijuana partying, but that's a whole nother story. So we'll just skip the over the border part. We'll just talk about stateside part for now. So we met, like you said, young. I was already independent and had been living on my own since I was 18 because my mother left California, moved back to Texas the month I graduated high school. So I was living on my own. I worked for a prison system, so I knew what I wanted, how I wanted, what I wanted to do, and I knew what I didn't want. So when I finally met Vince, and I think I had been in a couple of relationships where I was like, look, I have to be able to let my guard down, and I'm still working on that, but to be able to trust somebody and allow them to help lead my direction. And for Vincent being in the military, and Vincent is an only child born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, raised by a strong, independent woman who didn't play yet either. I think he was able to learn how to work around my rough edges and not do that I am man beat on my chest thing, like woman listen to me. I think he knew early on that wasn't going to be the way that he was going to get to my heart or allow me to let down my walls. So as we dated a little longer and, we found out we were going to be expecting a baby and I didn't have the flu. Because I tell you, Corona was around in 1992. So I just didn't tell you guys. I had all the symptoms.
Hey, being from Chicago, there is truth to every part of that sentence.
Right.
That's correct.
So yeah, it was I think a little easier for me, and I'll let Vincent speak on that because he was an only child. I think once he realized he had someone else depending on him making the best decisions, I think that's where he had to kind of pull in from his lifestyle and upbringing. How do we do this and how do we do this together? Yeah.
And like I said, us being young, military, so kind of, and we talk about this and laugh about it now. She would always say, like, her strategy was, and we would go on deployments, we would have to literally leave for 6 months. And then when we came back stateside, of course, all the fellas want to hang out. So what she would always do was, okay, everybody come over here. They'll always know the King's house. So we would always cook out. So I wouldn't really want to go out and hang out with the guys. So I can just bring everybody over. We cook out and just everybody knew the Kings, they can come and get fed well. So that was like her little strategy that she kind of put me onto that later. I'm like, you know what? That was pretty good. that worked out. That kept me from wanting to hang out. At 22 years old, we just bring everybody over, a lot of single people on the ships, and we would always cook and kind of like we had the place where everybody wanted to come and kind of away from home, and they got home cooked meals and things of that sort.
Shirley Walker.
But it was a little more difficult for me, like you said, adjusting, being the only child. So it was more difficult for me to adjust, I would say.
Shirley Walker King and Vince King joining me, talking all parts of marriage, good, bad, ugly, whatever. I got so many questions in my head, and as I said, I will be in June entering my second year of marriage. Y'all have been doing this a long time. I gotta pose this, and this is for both of you. When did you know that Vince to Shirley? When did you know that she would be the one for you? How did you? What was the bell that went off and said, "Okay, she's going to be here, and she's going to be around for me, and she's going to support me"? When did you know that she was the one?
That's for me, the Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
For me, oh wow, man. And that's funny because I always told myself that I wasn't doing this. Especially when I was in the military,
right.
And that was literally my first duty station. So I didn't even make it to the second duty station. So I don't know what I was thinking. So I guess God said, I have other plans for you, sir.
Yes.
But I don't know. I guess just us hanging out and talking and we used to go out to parties and see each other, and we would always just meet up, and it's just something when they say,
Yeah.
And I just knew if I was to leave California, it just didn't feel right. I just knew it was her. It's just funny. It just seems like I just knew, I just knew from just conversations. I just knew she was going to be the one that I really wanted to be with.
Shirley, same question to you. How'd you know Vince was the one?
For me, I think, and both of us were in that same boat where we both were kind of dating and young, and I'd always pictured myself with children, but it's ironic that I had never really pictured a husband.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up thinking of the ideal wedding, of, planning a wedding and walking down the aisle and picking out a wedding dress. I didn't do that. And it's not that I wasn't a girly girl, because I was. Although I played basketball, I was the girl who went to the game dressed up. So it wasn't that, because some people try and say that, if you're a tomboy, you don't really think about that stuff. But I wasn't a tomboy as much as I was just, an active girl. But I didn't picture marriage per se. But for Vincent, he was different for me. And, like I said, I grew up in San Diego, California, so I had been dating since I probably was 16, dating guys, whether my mom knew about it or not. But I think one of the first, when we met, Vincent said he saw me first. Vincent saw me before I saw him. Let me give a little background. But his friend approached me before he did. And so that whole weekend in California, if anybody's from California, they know you can party from Sunday to Sunday. They were having an event that next day, and we all went to a beach party, and, his friend was still trying to talk to me and wanted to give me his jacket so that I wouldn't be cold. And I was like, no, I don't want your jacket. For one, I don't want you branding me. There's too many ouches out here. Hold on now. But Vincent and I really didn't connect until that night, I think, when we went out to a club. And so we were talking, and I just liked the way that he had a conversation with you. Mm-hmm. He actually wanted to get to know you. It wasn't just about collecting phone numbers and, just trying to see whose pants he can get in. And if it was, his game wasn't obvious. I'll put it that way. And as he mentioned, he was in the military, so they had to go out to sea for 30 days, like maybe 2 weeks after we met.
Yeah.
And then Vincent actually got in trouble maybe right after you guys come back from that deployment. So this was within like the 60 days, within 90 days, I didn't see him for at least 60. But Vincent, and he didn't know where I lived, but he somehow got my address. And this was before social media and internet.
Yeah.
And he sent me a card from home because he had to go home for an emergency leave for something. And that's when I was like, okay, he is definitely something different and something new. And I kind of knew I just knew he was special. Yeah. Didn't necessarily know he was going to be the one, but I knew he was special.
I tell you what, with me, when I met Jody, we met in July of 2018, and I was a month away from beginning my new broadcast season. And it took till week 3 of that season. It was a Saturday afternoon when I called her, and I heard I was in the booth doing a football game. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have a little fun. Now, folks, this is one of the few times I will share this. And guys will be inventive to a point. And I said, I've never made a first call to a young lady I was interested in while on the air. I told myself, and Vince, you identify, you keep telling yourself, guys keep telling themselves, I'm not going to do this. I looked at her number and I said, screw it. I dialed her number, opened the phone, and I put it in my headset, and then I heard her voice. I finished 2 play-by-play sequences, and I heard her laugh. And it's the strangest thing. When I heard her laugh, my stomach did a flip-flop because there were butterflies in it, and I said, oh, yeah. This is it. So I went to a break, and she just said, wow, I never had a call like this. And I said, me neither, but I love your voice and I love listening to you. And we haven't stopped talking for almost 2 years.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. You just knew it.
I knew it.
You got that feeling.
I absolutely knew it, especially when she started coming to games with me. And she said, I want to be in the booth with you. So week 7, I was at Portage, and it always it's a cliche to a lot of people, but this is true to guys like Vince and myself. You can pick your partner out of a crowd, and there was a big crowd coming to Portage, and I saw Dr. K walk in. And I said, okay, the world's right now. She's here. I can put this headset on and I can roll through this broadcast because my pillar of support and the love of my life just walked in the house. And I was good.
Right. Well, you know what? And I'm a little slower than she is. I did just have a birthday on the 6th.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Actually, you know what? Excuse me. One of the main things I laugh about is, well, I think I would say, and I did say I just knew. Well, I think it was a time we went out when we were dating, and when the bill came, she paid for the plate. I said, oh, my God. Because, it's just automatic. The guy pays, and when you're married, it's different. It doesn't matter, man. It's the same card. Hey,
it is.
That was that was a big deal. I was like, wow, she paid, for the plate.
Yeah.
So that just took it to another level.
And I remember that because I remember you asking me, well, why are you paying for it? And I said, because I asked you to go out to the movies on this round. And I think it was dinner. I said, if I asked you to go out, then I should be able to pay for it. And so I remember having that conversation. He was like, I don't think I've ever had anybody pay for a date. Right. And I was like, well, I don't think you've ever dated anybody like me.
I tell you what, one of the weeks where we drove from Terre Haute to Michigan City, she finds things that just make me smile. And it was October. It was toward the end of the regular season. And she said, stop by Walgreens. I want to find something for you. I said, okay. So we stopped by Walgreens. She got some snacks for me. She got me a couple bottles of water, and she knows how much water I drink, especially when I'm on the air. So she comes out with a couple bottles of water, and I reach into the bag from Walgreens, and there, I swear to God, was football candy corn. There were different kinds of candy corn in football shapes. And I said, where'd you find this? She says, I found it in Walgreens. Let's go to the ball game, and watch Michigan City win. I said, she found this for me. Now, the little things mean the largest things to me. Now, I will tell this funny story. The first time I attempted, and I strongly stress the word attempted, to drive from Michigan City to Terre Haute, I was in Maryville, and I did a game in Maryville, and I had no water. They had nothing but caffeine in the form of Pepsi. And I said, now what do I do? If I drink more than one Pepsi, I am in serious trouble. I said, the heck with it. So, Michigan City scored 42 points, and they won the game. and I'm working off of 5 or 6 Pepsis. And she picked me up, and she said, "Why don't you drive back to Terre Haute?" Yeah, I didn't make it far. She even went. We even stopped at a store and said, do you need some sugar for the ride? Because it's about a 3-hour drive. I said, yeah. So she brings out some Reese's sticks, and I still didn't make it. I don't think I made it a good 10 miles before my body said, we're done. We're shutting down, whether you like it or not. And she saw it. She says, come over here. You'll get some sleep, and I'll drive back to Terre Haute. And we've been sharing driving duties since. And she knows me so very well. And I find it wonderful that she takes care of me just as much as I take care of her. That's like one of the sweetest things. In my eyes, that's one of the sweetest things.
And that's what a relationship is about, whether you're at the point of marriage or not. But once you're into a relationship that you know is going to go somewhere, that's what you want to do. You want to take care of your partner.
Yes.
That's what makes a relationship work, is he wants what's best for me just as much as I want what's best for me, and I want what's best for him just as much as he wants what's best for him. I'll put his needs before mine, and he'll put my needs before his.
Right.
That's a marriage.
That's absolutely a marriage. She looked me in the eye and said, I want you to chase your dreams as a broadcaster. But then when she found out and figured out what she really wanted to do, which was be a health coach, be a life coach rather, and she looked at me and we talked about it, and she says, what do you think? I really want to do this. I said, dive in and go for it. So that's right. That's just natural. That's just so natural. And she said to me so many times, I've never had anybody support me like this. I said, you don't have to ask twice. If you found something you love to do, dive in head first and go for it.
And that's what makes a marriage work. You put the needs of your spouse before yours. Of course, in a healthy relationship. Don't get it twisted.
Very healthy relationship.
When it's a mutual, healthy relationship, you want what's best for your partner just as much or more than they do.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. I got to have these two on again, and I'd love to have you guys so we can do an episode of Snowman Unfiltered where we go longer than this, but we're coming up against the break. That's Shirley Walker King and her husband Vince King talking all things marriage. And folks, this may be a sports show, but I sneak in little stuff like this to help the show go along. Thank you both for joining me. I'd love to have you back on for a longer episode, and I truly mean that.
Oh yeah, we're down for that. And remember, this is still sports, because this is a sports marriage. You know, both of us are former basketball players. Don't get it twisted again.
Right.
She's semi-pro. You know, I played in the military, but she's semi-pro. But hey.
I love it.
But anytime.
Thank you both so much for coming on. We got a break. I will talk to y'all in a deuce.
This is Snowman in the Morning,
I did not need to be told that.
where true sports talk lives.
Excellent.
Can't wait.
Sharif Ahmed has returned, and let's just go ahead and put something out there and continue to put something out there that people are not going to believe. Whenever the NBA does return and they go through the process of crowning a champion, which I believe will happen, it'll be in a weird circumstance, but I believe it will happen, and it ain't going to be the Lakers, folks. And part of me thinks it ain't going to be the Bucks either. The biggest free agent that's going to be out there late summer is not going to be who you think it is. The biggest free agent out there, once again, is going to be Anthony Davis.
Yes, absolutely. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because I think we had talked about this before. He's going to turn down that $28 million from the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. There was an article that was put out there that AD sold his home in Los Angeles, which feeds into my theory. And you were the first to comment on it when I put it out there. When I put that article out there on Facebook, I beg your pardon. You were the first one to jump on it. And I believe this until I see differently. AD's going home.
Yes, I agree with you on that. He is going home. And the thing is that he's going to go home, and he's going to be surrounded with a young nucleus of players. Mm-hmm. The Bulls are going to have a lot of capital, when they sign Davis. They're still going to have some wiggle room for some salary money or some salaries. Yep. And they got a couple veterans on the roster. I think Thaddeus Young is still on the roster. Mm-hmm. That guy, he's a $13 to $15 million body. Yep. He could give you double digits off the bench, and he could trade him to a contender, and you can move around pieces like that back and forth. Yeah. Yes, that's what's going to end up happening.
And Otto Porter's out of there. I will tell you right now, the one move the Bulls are going to make that'll open up a lot of room, Otto Porter is finished in Chicago. He's done.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they were giving him $25, $26 a year. The guy couldn't stay healthy at all.
No, he could not stay on the floor. This is what I believe it's going to happen. To clear up room for AD, Otto Porter is going to be jettisoned. You jettison Otto Porter, you keep marketing, you keep Carter. Okay, Thaddeus Young is on the roster. You can keep Thaddeus Young around for a while just so you get Davis in and you get him signed to a multi-year deal, and then Thaddeus Young is out. You got the pieces there. The Bulls have the pieces there. Laurie Markkinen, Wendell Carter Jr., the future of the Bulls, I believe, aside of Anthony Davis, the future of the Bulls, Kobe White.
Yeah, exactly. And then what they can do, they got a new GM. If they're still in the playoff contention, or if they're in the playoff race, they can get a couple of mid-level guys to come in and plug in some needed holes. Yep. Get some veterans get some decent veterans out there to make a nice push with the Bulls. Oh yeah. And who knows what can happen. And the Eastern Conference is up for grabs next year, because there's going to be a lot of moving around with the in the Eastern Conference as well.
Why don't people believe? I want to get your thoughts on this. Why don't people believe when I say, and you say, and a few others agree, that Anthony Davis is going home next year? Why don't people believe that, especially in Laker country? Why don't people believe Anthony Davis is going to be the top free agent again?
Well, the reason is because of this. It's because the Lakers are successful now. And they see LeBron and Anthony Davis on the floor. They see LeBron and Anthony Davis winning games. And then they have this championship feeling that they're going to get another trophy with the Lakers. So they're thinking that if the Lakers win the championship, that Anthony Davis is going to stay. And what I tell these LeBron-maniacs is this: okay, look at the roster that you have right now.
Right.
If one of these guys can they're saying, "Oh my gosh, load management. LeBron is not load managing because he's playing every single game." Okay, the reason is because is that your bench is not good.
Their bench is as thin as ice.
Their bench is not good. Anthony Davis can't stay healthy for more than 61 or 62 plus games a year on average.
Yep.
So you load manage Anthony Davis, LeBron has to play. If you load manage LeBron, Anthony Davis will play in fear that he might get hurt.
Right.
The only knock I have on Anthony Davis is that I will never forget the start of the season. This guy was already on an injury report.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah.
How can you be on an injury report if you're preparing for a season and not practice? What is this? How can you have a sore ankle or a sore knee and you guys take time off? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. The health of the NBA is at risk as far as I'm concerned. And it's been
There's
at
not
risk.
many players.
It's been at risk since LeBron came in the league in 2003. Oops, did I put that out there?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. When LeBron came in the league, that 2003 draft class was like an injection of adrenaline to the league.
Yes.
You had LeBron, Carmelo, Bosh, Wade. I mean, I can continue. On and on with that draft. I think David West was in that draft. He had a decent career. I mean, it was just an injection of this new blood into the league. And I like LeBron in the beginning. I ain't going to sit here and lie, and I've said this 1,000 times.
Right.
It's just but when he conducted himself the way he did and going to Miami, I thought it was full of crap. But anyway, that was the injection that the league needed.
Yeah.
So then everybody jumps on that LeBron train now, and then they haven't got off it yet. I got off of it a long time ago.
Yeah, same here.
But to go back with the Anthony Davis thing, he goes home. He's surrounded by a young talent, good young talent. They bring in a brand new GM. I don't know. I forgot his name, but he came from the Nuggets organization. And look how Denver looks now.
Arturas Karstanovas is the new GM
from Denver.
Yep.
And look what he helped put together. Denver is, I think, right now a 3 seed or a 4 seed in the West right now.
Yep.
No, they're a 3 seed because they would play the Rockets at 6. Yes.
Right.
You have a 3 seed. You have a 3 seed right now, and all those guys are young, with the exception of Millsap. Millsap's probably is one of the older veterans on the team. If he could duplicate that in Chicago and build around Davis, you got Markkanen on one side, you got Wendell Carter on the other side,
Yep.
you got Kobe.
Kobe
I can't think
White.
of his last name. Kobe White is your point guard. Then you can bring in other players to surround him with that. Oh my goodness! Can you imagine? Oh, that Saransky. What's his name? Thomas
Satoransky.
Satoransky. You have 2 point guards on the floor, and I don't know if Chris Dunn is still on the team. Is he still on the team?
Yes.
He comes off the bench. I mean, watch out. We might have a running of the Bulls part 2.
Yeah. And I see it. And I'll tell you a team that is going to take a nosedive next year, even though they're supposed to be fully healthy. That team is Brooklyn. And I have quite a few reasons I believe they're going to take a nosedive. Yes, Kevin Durant will be physically healthy. Yes, Kyrie Irving supposedly will be physically healthy. I have 2 major questions. Number 1, can you trust Kyrie Irving to help lead a team? Number 2, can you trust Kyrie Irving to work with Kevin Durant and vice versa? And my answer to both of those questions is no.
We touched on this before, and what we discussed was there has to be a coach in place in that locker room,
yes,
to handle those entities in there, because we all know Kyrie Irving is toxic. We know that Kevin Durant can be toxic.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be some type of a coach that has structure, that brings in the structure, that has pedigree, that has the kind of attitude that can tell you what they can and cannot do. And when they look at these coaches, they have no choice but to respect them. We've discussed the 3 names, and I will pray that one of these coaches get that job. It's David Fizdale, JB Bickerstaff, and the third one, as we said, it was Tyronn Lue.
Tyronn Lue, yeah.
Those are the only 3 coaches that can go into that job and handle what they need to handle, be competitive, and they can probably make a run at the champ, or at least the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't pick one of those coaches, then yes, I will agree with what your point is about the Brooklyn Nets. But if one of those coaches comes in there, it's over.
I'll give you that. With the Nets. They need a coach that will provide a lot of structure for that team. They already, thinking about it, they already had that coach. His name was Kenny Atkinson. But then Kevin Durant got an attitude, and Kyrie Irving got an attitude, and Atkinson was out of there. And my thoughts are these. Kevin Durant is becoming toxic in Brooklyn because Kyrie's there. He's getting in his head. And am I defending Kevin Durant? To a point, I am. He hasn't played since the World Championship Series last June. I don't think he's going to play for another year, or at least another 6 months. The most toxic piece right now is Kyrie Irving. Those two started getting Kenny Atkinson out of there. And wherever Atkinson lands, that team is going to make a run at a playoff spot. But with those 3 names that you threw out there, and I'll ask this question again, of David Fizdale, Tyronn Lue, and JB Bickerstaff, who is the most likely coach to get that position and turn that franchise around?
Oof. I think we went. I'm going to say from 1 to 3, it would be Lue, just due to the fact that he won a championship with Kyrie.
True.
Fizdale has been on championship teams as an assistant coach and was very influential in the 2 Heat championships. And Bickerstaff is one of the greatest fixers. One of the greatest fixers of teams, and nobody wants to give this man a contract beyond as an interim coach. But Bickerstaff has pedigree as well, so I would go at that order: Lue, Fizdale, and Bickerstaff.
One of those 3 needs to be coaching that team, and those 3 coaches need to be in the league. They need to be sitting at the head of a bench or walking the bench, coaching a team. Oh well, let's just put it out there. All 3 need to be in the league with the pedigree, with the pedigrees that they have. All 3 need to be in the league. I believe Lue just got ruined by LeBron. He has won a championship with Kyrie Irving. He's been to World Championship Series before, 4 of them. 1-1. That was 2016. 3 of them, I should say. That was 2016. Lue got ruined by LeBron's attitude. And then the Laker coaching position came up, and Lue wasn't having it because LeBron was there. I don't blame him. Now with LeBron being minus Kyrie, I think Lue would be a good fit in Brooklyn.
And it's really good that you touched on that. One of the 2 reasons why Lue did not take that job, it wasn't the LeBron. To me, it wasn't the LeBron factor. One, the Lakers hired Jason Kidd as an assistant coach already. Jason Kidd was employed by the Lakers before Lue was even thought of.
Yep.
Secondly, why are you going to give a coach a 2-year contract? That makes no sense.
Yeah, no sense whatsoever. None.
So if I was the owner of a team and I hire you as a coach, you have your own assistant coaches, you have your trainers, you have everything. People that you know that have been working with you is going to come with you to this team. Mm-hmm. But how are you going to have an assistant coach in Jason Kidd that's already there, and now you're going to have Tyronn Lue come up in here and have Kidd as his assistant, and even though Lue don't want him,
right?
Nah, bro. Tyronn Lue, and then guess where Tyronn Lue is now? He's an assistant coach with the Clippers. Am I right with that?
Yes.
I mean, that organization is the Laker organization is absolutely upside down right now.
And here's the other point that I want to make, and we'll close with this. The other point is this: Frank Vogel is a sitting duck. If he doesn't win a title this year, Frank Vogel is a sitting duck, which is why Jason Kidd is second in command. Because if things go upside down for the Lakers yet again, you usher out Frank Vogel, saying it was an experiment that wouldn't work, and you move up Jason Kidd.
What I don't get is that you're going from worse to worse. Jason Kidd was the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. The foundation of that team is still there, and you couldn't win with that?
Nope.
And now you're going to think you have to do the same crap with the Lakers? Get out of here, man.
I don't get it either.
It makes no sense, man. It's just, I don't know.
It makes no sense. It's like you said, it makes no sense. It really doesn't.
You put facts out there, and these people and these fans of him don't want to read the facts. They just want to read his facts, and no matter what his facts are, they like to throw those facts out there.
Mm-hmm.
But reality, then you bring in the reality of it all, but they don't want to believe that reality. I don't get it, man.
It's like my wife says all the time. It's called sometimers. Sometimes they want to believe, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they want to look, sometimes they don't. I mean, it's a joke between she and I, but it actually applies in this case. This man, Sharif Ahmed, he's going to be back with me to talk all things NFL draft, as the NFL draft is this Thursday. We're going to see how we match up against the folks that did their mock drafts, and their final versions are coming out like haywire. Man, it's always good to have you on. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Stay safe, B.
Until tomorrow, have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. I am, and I hope you all are too. And a big announcement will come your way May 1st. Till then, Showman's out of here.
And that was the Daily BS with your host, Brian Snow. Join him tomorrow, 4 p.m. East Coast time, right here on the RTF Sports Network page at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me
off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com. The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com. The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
And that was the Daily BS with your host, Brian Snow. Join him tomorrow, 4 p.m. East Coast time, right here on the RTF Sports Network page at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that. What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that. What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
Coming up next on the RTF Sports Network.com radio network is the March show of the month, NAN Sports, with your hosts, Nick and Nolan. Stay tuned.
The socially distanced NFL Draft is finally here, and you can follow all the action at betonline.net. Wondering who will be the first, second, and third draft pick? Do you know if more offensive or defensive players will be taken in the first round? Have a hunch on how many trades will take place in the first round? Maybe you're into oddities like how many draftees' dogs will be shown during first-round coverage. Before the draft goes live, head over to betonline.net for the latest props, lines, and odds. Bring the draft home with betonline.net.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Yeah, how about that? Welcome in to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. As the amazing voice guy just said, it is the Morning Boys with your host, Ryan Hickey. How about that? An official open right here as things are really, really coming together on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We do appreciate you tuning in, giving us a few minutes here on this Monday morning. Hope everyone had a great weekend, stayed safe, stayed sane, got out of the house, entertain yourself somehow. It is obviously it is a tough time to do that, but thankfully, in a world with no live sports, in a world where there's very little entertainment in terms of live entertainment, right? There's no concerts, there's no sporting events. TV shows obviously are, can still be aired, but for the most part, not much new original live content out there. And if you are a big sports fan, or really even not, even just, a casual sports fan, last night, ESPN finally rolled out their much anticipated, highly hyped documentary, at least the first 2 episodes last night, of The Last Dance about Michael Jordan and the 97-98 Bulls run, their last run, the 6th and final NBA championship that franchise won. And obviously, last night was, again, they debuted the first 2 episodes, and it did not disappoint. Wow. Was that great? We'll obviously dive into a lot of that. As thankfully, for the next 4 Sundays, we have a lot to look forward to because at least the first 2 episodes last night, obviously a lot of look back of his life early on, going to North Carolina and then going to the Bulls as a rookie and a second-year player. A lot of great information there, a lot of great context in there. Myself, as someone who's 25 years old, really grew up with with the LeBron James era of the NBA really didn't know too much and didn't get a chance to see Michael Jordan live at all, really, for the most part, let alone, get to look at all this in-depth knowledge and film that was really never seen before from their last year, and also, again, from Michael's earlier life. So that was, if you watched it, obviously, we'll discuss a lot about it here, and we'd love to get your comments and your thoughts, because there was just so much there. And again, that was only 2 of 10 episodes last night. An incredible job by ESPN, and a great debut so far of part 1 and part 2 of the 10-part Last Dance documentary, again, about the 97-98 Bulls. But really, while it focuses, and most of the filming was from that final 6th and final championship year, obviously, it really encapsulates Michael Jordan's entire career and really gets, to the core of who he was and his competitive spirit. So we'll get into that. And there was, at least watching that, I thought an interesting parallel you can make, because obviously, you have Michael Jordan and you have LeBron James. That is the lifelong debate now. Who is the better player? Obviously, if you were probably above 30, you get to see Michael Jordan live. A lot of people will say Michael Jordan. If you're even older than that, people will say Wilt Chamberlain, or there's a Kareem, Wilt. There's plenty of players back in the 60s and 70s that people can say and look to and say, hey, that was the best player of all time. Michael doesn't compare. Again, if you're an 80s or 90s person, it's Michael Jordan. And now, if you're a millennial or starting to grow up and watching the NBA, LeBron James obviously dominated the headlines. But watching last night, at least the first 2 parts, I really thought that there's a great parallel that could be drawn to Michael Jordan and Steph Curry. We'll get to that in just about 20 minutes, and how I think they both were able to change the game the way we know it. We have NFL draft needs. It is NFL draft week, so we'll get to that. We still have the NFC North to get to, and we'll dip into a little bit of the NFC South with the Falcons and the Saints. And I want to kind of bring in a new game here later on in the show. NFL draft, realistic or reach? This week especially, maybe even more than ever, because of the technology issues, or I should say challenges that are going to be in the way of general managers and some teams, more than ever, really, I think we will see trades happen pre-draft more than ever, right? You rarely kind of see teams trade up in the draft a few days before the draft actually occurs. And I think we'll see that, or at least have a lot of trades locked in place if a few things happen, because of the unknown with technology and the worry that if we wait to the last second, maybe a trade we want or the pick we want won't be available to us because, barring a technological failure, we can't really take too many chances. So I think there'll be more trades and more build-up leading into the draft, because, again, a lot of these GMs and teams want to have a lot of plans locked in place one way or another. And with that comes a lot of rumors about teams wanting to trade up, teams wanting to trade down, players maybe even on the trade block during this draft. So we'll flesh out here a few of these draft rumors. Are they realistic? Could they actually happen? Or is it a reach? Are they really hoping it's going to happen, but really there's not enough there to actually make it happen? So like I said, and we will have also Brett McMurphy, who's supposed to join with us on Thursday. He will be here today, same time, 10 a.m., so just about 15 minutes from now he will join us, because he was the one from Stadium who put out this survey to 112 athletic directors across college football Division I about, will we have a season? And most likely, and really the genesis of the survey was, if college football is not played from August to December like we're usually used to it being played, what will it look like? How will we be able to fit in these games? How can we be able to fit into a season? Because right now, at least the consensus is that these universities and schools cannot afford to not have a college football season. So much revenue is relied upon from college football that it is important and imperative that a season goes on. So we'll discuss with him what a season could look like. Could we have spring football? Could we have a national title game on Memorial Day weekend of 2021, and also some college football playoff expansion as well? We'll get into that with Brett, again, top of the hour at 10 a.m. Eastern. But like I said, last night, we will start with The Last Dance, because the first 2 episodes were debuted last night, and it was absolutely incredible. So I figured, there's so much to unpack, so much to discuss. And again, just early on in Jordan's career, figured, there's really not 1 or 2 takeaways that I thought. At least we're going to do 6 takeaways for all 6 titles that the Bulls won, again, from in the 90s. So the first takeaway I thought, at least watching this Last Dance, if you have your thoughts, Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, we're on Facebook. Twitter, WWSRN_radio. Either drop us a comment underneath the show on Facebook, or drop us a tweet underneath the live stream, again, on Twitter at WWSRN_radio. Love to get your thoughts, because like I said, this was a show I think that every sports fan watched, every even casual fan, even my mom, I was shocked last night, was talking about her excitement to watch the show. And she's not a sports fan at all. She watches the games that we watch and me and my dad watch. But for the most part, she's not really too big of a sports outside of the teams we root for. So it's crazy to think that this show, and more importantly, Michael Jordan, had a reach, that expands just Bulls fans or NBA fans. It's really sports fans overall. And even those casual sports fans have an interest and intrigue with Michael Jordan. So like I said, we'll do 6 takeaways because the Bulls won 6 titles. And this is, at least watching the first part, this really stuck out to me because the first part really kind of hit on that basically the 6th title, and more importantly, the final title, 97-98 season, almost didn't happen. And I thought, at least, I don't think the Bulls win that 6th and final title if social media was around back in 1997, 1998. And here's what I mean. You had all these factors after the Bulls won in 1997, heading into, again, the 97-98 season, that there was so much turmoil, so much question, so much distraction around a team that's won 5 titles in 7 years that we will never probably ever see again for a team that successful in such a short spurt, right? So you obviously had Scottie Pippen. He's upset because he is the 6th highest paid player on his own team, not in the NBA, not ever, on his own team, despite being obviously the 1A to Michael Jordan. Arguably, you heard people in the documentary talking about how they think at a point Scottie Pippen was the 2nd best player in all the NBA. So he's the 6th highest paid player in his team heading to that final championship season. Now, part of it's his own doing, signing a 7-year deal for $18 million back in 1991. But to have all that contention about a contract being so low, being laughably low, and ownership and front office basically having nothing to do with salary restructuring, that he was so upset that just going to that final year, again, with the Bulls favored to win a 6th title, going for history, that he decided, you know what, I'm going to have a spite surgery because my leg hurts. I should have got surgery after the finals in 97. He had maybe the line of the documentary so far, I didn't want to F up my summer. So he spends, those months in June, July, and August relaxing, enjoying the summer, enjoying coming off an NBA championship, and then decides once the season starts, I'm going to have surgery. I could have had it, again, in June. I'm going to have it now when the season starts and miss the first few months. So you had that where you had a player with little salary openly being upset about being paid so little. Obviously, everyone in the NBA world, everyone in the sports world realizes this guy deserves to be the 2nd highest paid player on the team, let alone maybe the NBA. And he goes so far as to get a surgery, and elects to get surgery right when the season starts to purposely have him sit out for the first few months and really hurt the Bulls. So you have that drama right there. You have the Phil Jackson drama coming back. Will he come back for a 6th, to have a chance to win a 6th title? I think about this. You had in 97 after the Bulls win, that press conference post game after they win the 97 finals, minutes after they are champions for the 5th time. You have Michael Jordan still in uniform, drenched in sweat, in the post-game press conference talking about how he doesn't want to play for another coach. Phil Jackson absolutely deserves to come back on this team. And if Phil doesn't come back, well, you know what? Guess what? Michael has options. He might not be back. Could you imagine this day and age with social media? A team wins a title. And let's just use the Warriors, for example, because they were the latest dynasty of the NBA, right? The Warriors win a title. They win their 3rd title, right? You have KD, you have Steph, you have Clay. That trio dominates. They beat the LeBron James-led Cavs. And again, LeBron leaves Cleveland, right? So they win their title. Could you imagine Steph Curry after the game? They just beat the Cavaliers. They just win their 3rd NBA Finals in 4 years. And the team is coming back next year. Kevin Durant's under contract. Klay Thompson's under contract. Steph Curry's under contract. Most of that team is coming back again to defend their title and go for 4 and 5 years. Could you imagine, after the finals, literally minutes after they win their 3rd title, you have Steph Curry saying, I hope Steve Kerr comes back. Steve Kerr absolutely deserves to come back. If Steve doesn't come back, maybe I might exercise my muscles and I might go somewhere else. I have options to play elsewhere. Maybe, I shouldn't be on this team if Steve Kerr can't coach. Where you have a GM so fueled by gratification and basically wanting the approval that he helped put this team together, and Jerry Krause is the general manager of the Bulls. He was dead set on changing everything possible to show that he is still the mastermind of this dynasty, and he deserves more credit than he wanted. He was upset Phil Jackson was getting all the credit. He was upset Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen was getting all the credit. And so in order to try to rein in and take back some of the credit from the players and the coach, put it on him, he told Phil Jackson, basically, you're going to come back one more year. And it took Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner, to basically force his way, throw his weight around and say, Phil, you're coming back, and you're going to help us get a 6th title. And then you have Jerry Krause right after that saying, yeah, Phil, it's your final year. Could you imagine, again, in a day in social media where we have 24-hour TV networks, we have 24-hour radio stations, we have social media, again, that makes talking with these athletes, accessing these athletes, reaching these athletes so much easier than it was even back in the late 90s, to where you have Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson basically getting pestered all that final season. What is it like to have, be on your final year? Phil, do you care? I mean, Phil, no matter, Jerry Krause literally said you can go 82-0. You're not coming back next year. That distraction alone, I feel like, would weigh down a team so much that I think it would make it hard to win a title. I think about all that drama, all that turmoil for a team that was so successful. I personally don't see how they would be able to overcome it and overcome those distractions. If social media was in place, if the media was the way it is today, where you have 24-hour access, and again, all the TV, sports, radio, social media would be basically obsessed about how a coach who has won 5 titles in 7 years is being forced out. You have the superstar player, transcendent face of the NBA, talking about how if his coach can't come back, he might not come back. Could you imagine LeBron James? After they win the title, Ty Lue is forced out, and he goes, yeah, you know what? If Ty can't come back, I might not be back in Cleveland. People would go, no fans would be able to even enjoy the title, because now all you're worrying about is, will LeBron come back? What can we do to make LeBron come back? Imagine trying to alienate the best player in basketball at that time, the face of your franchise, the person who turned your organization around from a team and an organization that was getting out attendanced by an indoor football or indoor soccer league, I believe, before Michael got there. An indoor soccer league in Chicago was drawing more fans than the Bulls. Turns around, helps orchestrate one of the greatest dynasties, arguably the greatest dynasty in all of the NBA. And there's so much jealousy there that they want to force out some of the reasons why they were so successful. So if social media, that was one of my biggest takeaways. If social media was around back in the late 90s, I think that 6th and final title they get, I don't think it's happening. I think there's too many distractions personally that could derail what the Bulls did, but it shows how impressive it is, and even gives them even more credit that they were able to win that final title despite all the distractions circulating around them. That's my first takeaway. I also thought that the Bulls almost entered rarefied air in the wrong way, right? I think they're in rarefied air. The 90s Bulls are talked about as legacy, as royalty in the NBA circles, as they should. But think about this. Going back to that 97 season, right? They win the finals. They win their 5th in 7 years. Well, Jerry Krause, Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner, they were thinking about rebuilding. 5 titles in 7 years. They were close. They almost pulled the trigger on rebuilding the team and not giving them a chance to defend their title and go for 6 and 8. And the reason why they would enter rarefied air is because teams rarely break up after they win. Right? And I went back. You see these teams, whether it's the Spurs, whether it's the Lakers of the early 2000s, the Heat with LeBron James, and even most recently the Warriors. Teams don't break up after they win. Teams break up when they lose. Right? You have the Lakers and their dynasty go on with Shaq and Kobe. They break up. Kobe and Shaq split up, not after they win their last title, but a few years after that, after they lose and don't win another title. The Spurs really never, they're kind of an exception because you have Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan. They're just the model of consistency. But the Heat with LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, right? They go to 4 straight finals. They go 2-2. They didn't break up after they won the 2nd title in 3 years. After they had that incredible comeback against the Spurs. They didn't break up. LeBron didn't leave after that. Eric Spoelstra didn't leave after that. Dwayne Wade didn't leave after that. LeBron really only left, again, after they lose that 4th and final finals appearance they had against the Spurs. But they broke up after they lost. The Warriors, similar, didn't theoretically break up because a lot of pieces are still together. But KD left, and that kind of changes the outlook a little bit. But for the most part, these teams didn't break up. And if they did, 1 or 2 players left. They weren't going to have a mass exodus like the Bulls were about to have after 97 that they had in 1998. You rarely see teams break up and not given a chance to defend their title and break up after a win. And I understand 98 they did, but we kind of knew that was coming again when you had the writing on the wall with Phil Jackson. MJ retires after 98. There was writing on the wall that this team was not going to be together. This was going to be the last shot, which is why they called it the last dance. You rarely see teams break up after they win titles and have success. And again, going back to social media, I can only imagine what social media must have been like. I can only imagine what it's like to be a Bulls fan. You can't even enjoy half these titles because all you're worrying about is Phil Jackson going to come back? Is Michael going to come back? Is he going to retire? Are they going to alienate Michael Jordan, the best player to ever play this game? Are they going to alienate him because they're basically trying to make it as hard on him as possible? So that was my second takeaway, is just almost, if they decided to rebuild to 97, not go for that 6th and final title chase in 97-98, they would have really entered a rarefied air for breaking up a dynasty before it was over. Third takeaway I had was injuries. I thought, it's funny, when you said of Michael Jordan in the second year, injuries back then were treated so much differently than they are now. And I understand money's a large part of that, right? These players make so much money. They're so important to these organizations that you can't risk putting players in harm's way or putting them in a position to where they could get hurt and miss an extended part of the season. And that's all that money that's going to be sitting there that you invest in these players that's not going to give you a return on your investment. So I understand money has really changed the outlook of how we deal with injuries and the carefulness that we have, especially nowadays with any sport when a player has an injury. But Michael Jordan's second year, right? He broke his ankle earlier on in the year, misses a ton of time, comes back to the minutes restriction. And it was so much what we saw with Zion Williamson, right? You heard early on Michael was saying he's only allowed to play 14 minutes a game, 7 minutes each half. That was it. They had a stopwatch. If he went 1 second over, you heard that Phil Jackson was getting fired, and everyone, or not Phil Jackson, I apologize. I forget who the head coach was, but you know, he was losing his job if Michael played 14 minutes and 1 second. So they were careful in the beginning, right? And slowly they kind of let him back in, but all of a sudden now they get to the playoffs, going against one of the best teams ever in the '86 Celtics team. Let him loose. Absolutely let Michael Jordan loose, despite the fact that the Bulls were 30-52. Despite that, really had no chance of winning. They let Michael Jordan loose. They allowed him to come back and make a playoff push. And again, despite him being the face of the franchise, him already, even at that point in year 2, realizing he was special, he could be really the difference maker for this Bulls team. I'm shocked they allowed him to kind of basically keep on playing, despite, again, being 30-52. Despite the playoffs were there and they made the playoffs, 30-52, he had no shot at even advancing, let alone winning a game against the Celtics. I'm surprised that they allowed Michael to come back, to be honest, and basically risk. You heard that, there's a 10% risk that he could never play again if he hurt his foot. Well, obviously, we know he kept playing, and that was no worry. But you look at, again, Zion Williamson, how he missed a large chunk of the season, and when he came back, it was a strict minutes restriction. Again, a lot of it's tied up to money. You don't want your face of your franchise getting hurt, especially in some meaningless games. But even we saw with Steven Strasburg in a baseball reference back in 2012, he was letting the world on fire, coming off injury. The Nationals made the playoffs. He pitched the regular season, they made the playoffs, and they shut him down in the playoffs because they were so worried about him getting hurt and wanting to have him for the long haul. So injuries are so much looked at upon differently and taken carefully now. Compared to back then, that was definitely a big standout for sure. The fourth, I was kind of surprised by this. Maybe this is one of the most shocking takeaways for me. Tanking was still prevalent even in the 80s. That 86 team we talked about where MJ got hurt and came back late in the season, and they had a chance and did make the playoffs despite winning 30 games that year. The Bulls, and Michael Jordan made this known, it seemed like they didn't want to make the playoffs. They didn't want to win. They knew if they made the playoffs, they'd be out of the lottery and it would hurt them to getting a high draft pick. So even back then, even in the 80s, draft picks were still very important, and the mindset was still, if we're not going to make the playoffs or have a chance, we might as well lose every game possible to get the best valuable draft pick. So tanking was very prevalent even in the 80s, which I was honestly a little surprised by. I thought that this was more of a new school idea, to be honest. As analytics kind of come into the fold, as budgeting comes into the fold, where now you realize you can have a draft pick on a cheap contract. If you get a great draft pick, you have him, basically cheap labor for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, depending on the sports league that drafts you. And that's obviously a better asset than having maybe a player in his prime where you're paying a boatload of money to. So it's funny, even back then, tanking was still prevalent. Draft picks were still coveted greatly. And again, you could tell that in that second season, the Bulls did not want to make the playoffs, and Michael Jordan did not let that happen. It's funny, too, the fifth takeaway I had, because now I feel like there's so many old school-minded players, fans, and talking about how the NBA is soft these days. Everyone is too buddy-buddy. There's too much joking going on. There's not much hatred on the court, right? And we see that. A lot of these players now grow up playing together. They play in AAU circuits. They play each other in tournaments. They have Team USA. They have the Olympics. There's so many different ways that players from different teams come together and play on the same team, which leads them to being friends. You have a lot of superstars that are friends. Well, back then, you had during that '86 playoffs with Jordan and going against the Celtics, you had Jordan playing golf in the playoffs on an off day with Danny Ainge. Fast forward to the 1993 finals against the Suns, you had Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley playing 48 holes on an off day during the finals. Could you imagine this day and age if LeBron James or Steph Curry or Kawhi Leonard were playing golf on an off day with the team they were going against in the finals? Imagine Giannis and LeBron. We have a Bucks-Lakers finals, and you have them on the golf course, in between games 2 and 3 in L.A. People would freak out. People would lose their mind. So even back then, players are still friendly, and maybe you could paint it as Jordan wanted to kind of get an edge and kind of give some of those players a false sense of friendship or false sense of security, and then he kind of use that, lulls them to sleep, and then gets them on the court. But still, he's playing golf with the enemy during the playoffs. I found that very interesting. And finally, speaking of that playoff series against the Celtics, he scored at will. So the box score for those two games, the first two games of the series, when they lost, they were swept, and back then it was a 5-game series. They lost 3-0. But the box score he had is more impressive because of how we look at basketball now. And this is what I mean by that. So in '86, right, Jordan scored 49 points in Game 1, 63 in Game 2. Game 1, he shot 50% from the floor. He's 18 of 36. He was 0 of 0, 0 for 0 from 3. So think about that. He scored 49 points against one of the best teams of all time, in the '86 Celtics team. Right? Hall of Famers all over the board. Great defenders all over the board. He scored 49 points without taking a 3. He followed that up in Game 2, going 22 of 41 for 63 points, 0 of 0 from 3. So there was no threat of a three-point shot. Defenders didn't have to worry about all these different angles and shots that Jordan was taking. He would go to the elbow, take a shot, take a wing jumper, get to the hoop. There was really only a few areas he would shoot from. And he was so good. He scored at will that it didn't matter that the defense knew what he was doing. Right? They could basically collapse and play from the foul line in. And he was still scoring at will. He was the only one who was scoring. So not only, again, is he not shooting from 3 and really shrinking the court for himself for the different areas that he is able to score, he's the only one. He's the only threat. Scottie Pippen was on the team back then. He is the guy. And he scored 49 and 63 points in those two games. And again, without even attempting one shot from 3. So that's just incredible right there in his second year in the league. Without, and again, the three-point shot was not really even a big thing back then. But again, to just limit your court spacing, limit the areas and really the worries that defenders have to have, he still was able to score at will. Despite knew the defense knew what he was doing. Absolutely incredible. So I'll have to get your thoughts on you. Those are my 6 takeaways. What were your biggest takeaways on Last Dance? Premiere last night. Again, episodes 1 and 2 were on ESPN. I'll have to get your thoughts because there's just so much there. And we really kind of didn't even scratch the surface yet. Right? We covered basically, for the most part, his years at North Carolina and his early on rookie year, second year with the Bull, and hit a little bit on Scottie Pippen and his anger with the front office about his contract. So there's still not much we got into in terms of the finals yet, winning the first finals, winning the second finals, and there's still so much to happen with his dad's unfortunate murder and him leaving the game after 93 to go to play baseball for 18 months. There's so much there that's going to be unpacked. We hope that we get answers to. But I thought, again, even just these first 2 episodes were absolutely incredible. So let's get your takeaway too on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on Facebook or on Twitter, WWSRN_radio. Give your thoughts there. If you want to shoot me a text, we can read those on air as well. What were your big takeaways from the Last Dance premiere, episodes 1 and 2? We'll get into that. I'm going to come back. There was some interesting, kind of parallels. I thought there was one in particular. Obviously, the debate is LeBron or MJ. Who's the better player? I think there's an interesting parallel we can draw between Michael Jordan and Steph Curry. We'll get into that when we come back. It is the Morning Boys with your host, Ryan Hickey, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
That's right, it is the Morning Boys with your host, Ryan Hickey. We do appreciate you tuning in. We are reacting and giving our biggest takeaways from The Last Dance, the much-anticipated, highly hyped 10-part documentary on Michael Jordan's Bulls of the 90s. I'd love to get your thoughts and your takeaways. What did you find most interesting? Was there any shocks so far? Again, a lot of it was his early life, North Carolina, his rookie year at the Bulls, talking about walking in on his teammates, doing a lot of drugs, having a lot of women in their hotel rooms, having a cocaine traveling circus, which is what the Bulls were called before MJ got there. So interesting to hear him talk about that. And again, his just willingness to not lose. You have him in his second year coming back after an injury, despite the Bulls being just awful, finishing the year 30-52, making the playoffs somehow at 30-52, but still coming back, still wanting to win, and then goes out and drops 49 points and 63 points in the first two playoff games against the Celtics in the series. They would get swept on, but still impressive. So there's, at least I gave 6 takeaways, one for each of the 6 titles the Bulls won. It's incredible what they were able to accomplish. And more importantly, I think their 6th and final one might be the most impressive. For all of the distractions that went on, with all of the turmoil between the front office and the coaching staff, the front office and the players, the fact they're able to concentrate, block all that out, and actually play hard and play well is very, very, very impressive. So any takeaways you have, any thoughts you have from watching part 1 and part 2 of The Last Dance last night, drop a comment on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If you're on Twitter, WWSRN_radio, or my personal handle if you want to tweet me there, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. So read those on the air as well and get your takeaways. But another thing coming out of this documentary, I thought, is that there's an interesting parallel that could be drawn between when Michael Jordan came into the league and modern day when Steph Curry came into the league, right? The debate and the comparison we always hear, that's, of course, we're even hearing today in some talk shows, I've seen on Twitter already, the debate is raging on. Who is still the GOAT, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Classic. We will not do this on the show because that debate ends just like every political debate ends. People get mad at each other. There's no winner. There's no real answer. And all it does is end screaming. So we're not going to do that. But that is, the common reference point. That is the common debate. Who's the better player, LeBron James or Michael Jordan? And I'm not saying Steph Curry belongs in this conversation. But it's interesting that Steph Curry is very similar to what Michael Jordan was doing in a way that really, LeBron James can never do. And that is change the way the game is actually played. Jordan bent the game to his will, and the league adjusted to him. Steph Curry, when he came into the league, bent the game to his will, and the league now adjusted to his style of play. And again, in a way that LeBron James never really was able to do. And here's what I mean by that. So Michael Jordan, he enters the league. And it's funny because early on in the documentary, you hear basically all of these current NBA stars basically saying, Michael's great, this hype is cool, but he's not going to carry a team. He's not a big man. This is a big man's game. He's a nice player, but he's 6'6". He's not going to carry the team. He's not going to be the guy to turn the Bulls around. You had Walt Frazier talking in an interview saying, quote, Michael's got to realize he's not 7 foot, so he's not going to carry a team in the NBA. You had Mark Eaton saying, quote, one man can't turn a team around. You even had the Bulls' own general manager, the guy who drafted Michael Jordan, and Rod Thorne come out and say, quote, we wish he was 7'1", but he isn't, end quote. So you had all this stuff, all this concern that, he's only 6'6", with a player that's short, he can be a nice player, but he's not going to be the face of the franchise. He's not going to turn the Bulls around. He's not going to make them a winner. And obviously Michael Jordan not only proved them wrong very quickly. And he changed the game because, again, this thinking was you have to have a big man as the center of your team, as the face of your franchise, basically as the pillar, right? You had Will Chamberlain. You had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You had the first 2 picks before Jordan in Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie, both over 7 feet. The big man was the play back in the 80s and the early 90s. Not really should say the 80s, and even before that, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It was about size. It was getting it down low. Because if you had a bigger man, it's hard to defend. And obviously, layups and paint play, post play was so important compared to what it is now. So MJ comes into the league and basically again, flips that narrative on his head to where now he shows he can be the face of the franchise. He can be a pillar. He can lead a team, and he can lead a team that wins championships. So now teams start to draft and start to realize, okay, you don't have to be 7 foot for us to have a chance to win a title. You don't have to be 7 foot for us to have a franchise guy to be the leader going forward and be the guy to have us win a championship. No. Michael Jordan changed all of that and changed that thinking. So by the time we get into the 90s and 2000s, again, you're having people like Kobe Bryant, you're having guys like LeBron James lead franchises that aren't 7 feet tall, that aren't monsters down low in the paint, that can hit jump shots, that can get to the rim, that can drive hard to the lane. They can do all of that. And that was due in part because Michael Jordan changed the way the game is played and changed the way general managers and teams built their teams. Because now all of a sudden it was not about the big man. And as we see, the floor gets more spaced and more spaced and more spaced. Enter Steph Curry, drafted in 2009, just like Michael Jordan when he was drafted. Not much hype, There was some excitement. They were thinking, this could be a good player, right? Steph Curry goes number 9, MJ goes number 3, and you heard early on the documentary, Rod Thorne would have taken Hakeem if the Bulls had the number 1 pick. There was some excitement about Michael Jordan, but they had zero idea he would be anything close to the player he became. I think similar to Steph Curry, right? He's drafted in 2009. We know about his NCAA tournament run at Davidson. He has some hype, but he's a small player. He's, a perimeter player. Can he really be the face of the franchise? Can he really lead a team? There was some doubts. And even back then, back in 2009, the game was different. Today's day and age, it's about spacing, three-point shooting, right? Teams like the Rockets to the extreme where only take three-pointers and layups. But analytics have come into the game partly because of Steph Curry's play, and they realize the three-point shot is more efficient than a two-point mid-range jumper. And to highlight that, back in 2011-2012, right, you had Ryan Anderson, led the NBA. He had 166 threes that year in 11 and 12. So just, again, just as Steph Curry's really starting to become his own, he's had a few years in the league, he's starting to become his own. 4 years later, back in 2015, 2016, Steph Curry shatters that three-point record for a season. He hits 402 in a season that the Warriors win 73 games. And the reason why I want to bring that up is because in that year, 2015, 2016, just 4 years after Ryan Anderson led the league with 166 threes, Steph Curry changed the game because you had 17 players just 4 years later in 2015, 2016 who had more than 166 threes. 17 players with more than the leader of threes in a season 4 years prior. So just in that 4 year time span, you had the game completely change, and the Warriors really revolutionized, led and spearheaded by Steph Curry, of the perimeter game, shooting threes, shooting volume threes. So now, again, where you see this game, it's all about three-point shooting and layups. Get to the hole, get to the rim, or take a three. You had 27 players just this past season in 2018-2019 that had more than 166 threes. So really, in the span of a few years, right, you had the game still being bullied, down low in the paint. You still have to have a big man presence. Still getting to the hole, still having mid-range jumpers was very important. Kobe Bryant really was the face of that as well. He had so many turnaround, mid-range elbow jumpers. And now just a few years, Steph Curry comes in. The game has completely changed to where now you almost get laughed at and mocked at if you're going to shoot a mid-range elbow jumper. It's viewed as inefficient. It's viewed as not necessary. Just in those few years, the game has completely flipped on its head and changed, spearheaded and led by Steph Curry. And now, like I said, you have centers going out and shooting threes. You have Anthony Davis, who's over 7 feet, shooting threes. The game has changed. And now, really, centers are more valuable if they can shoot threes. And they're looked at, differently if they are just post players and can't get out and space the floor. So Jordan was able to change the game when he came into the league, showing the NBA it's really not necessary to have, a big man, or you can win, I should say, without having a big man as your main focus, as your franchise guy, as your go-to number one option. Jordan changed the game that way, showing a 6'6" guard was able to lead a team to championships, which is a thinking that was not possible and not thought highly of back then in the 80s. Enter Steph Curry, again, in the 2009 he's drafted, and a few years later, the NBA changes their game to Steph Curry, and now all we see is threes. All over the place, it's raining down threes. So they changed the game. Jordan and Curry both changed the game. LeBron, again, one of the best ever play. But he was able, with his size, with his speed, with his strength, with his athleticism, to take advantage of the way the game is played, and he's able to mold his game, right? He started off going to the hole hard. His jump shot was shaky. He really couldn't shoot threes. He was not a great shooter when he first came into the league with the Cavaliers. He improved that markedly to where he is a knockdown three shooter. He could take a jump shot, and you are confident going in. But he was able to mold his game to how the game was evolving around him. Both Jordan and Curry changed the way the game is played, and the game itself changed to their styles, let alone the other way around. So I'm curious, would you agree with this comparison? Would you put Steph Curry in the same category as Michael Jordan? Not in terms of greatness of play. I'm not trying to say Steph Curry is one of the best of all time, or put Steph Curry in this LeBron MJ debate. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to say and put a parallel to Michael Jordan changed the game when he came to the league. I'm putting Steph Curry in that same category as from when Steph came to the league, the game changed. The game absolutely changed, and teams and organizations cater to their strengths rather than vice versa. So let's get your thoughts. Would you put Steph Curry in the same category as Michael Jordan in terms of changing the game? Also take your Last Dance takeaways, whatever you watch. If you watch The Last Dance last night, I'd love to get your thoughts on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, or on Twitter, WWSRN_radio, or my personal Twitter handle, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. When we come back, we'll kind of get your comments, discuss quickly a change in college basketball that possibly could be beneficial for both prospects entering the NBA and also college basketball. And remember, we do have Brett McMurphy coming up at the top of the hour to talk a lot of college football and scheduling, as you are listening to the Morning Boys with your host, Ryan Hickey, right here on the Worldwide Sports, as I get that ready, Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
And welcome back into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Morning Boys on this Monday morning. We do appreciate you giving us a few minutes here. Hopefully you enjoyed your weekend. It was a great, sane, safe weekend. You got to do something different. Maybe I know all these days are blending together, but hopefully you're making the most of it as we are powering through this pandemic. And again, hopefully the end is near. Hopefully sooner rather than later we will see. But at least we're glad, and hopefully at least for these next 2 hours, or really an hour or 10 minutes, we can provide you some sort of distraction, some sort of comedic relief maybe, and at least, again, kind of break up the monotony of everyday blending together. So again, we do appreciate you giving us a few minutes here every Monday and Thursday, as you do right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So we'll get to Brett McMurphy here in just about 8 minutes at the top of the hour. He of Stadium was the person who, and the reporter, I should say, who sent out the anonymous survey to 112 athletic directors that we discussed a few weeks ago, whether it was how college football could return, right? If it's not played like we're normally used to seeing it from August to December, which every day that passes and nothing, changes in terms of social distancing laws, gathering laws, and states kind of opening up again. Every day that passes, and we get one day closer to August when the season starts, or really even July when practice starts, that is one day that, the season might be pushed back. So Brett was the one that kind of disseminated this information and put it together to where he put up 3 or 4 different possibilities of how the season could resume and what it could look like. And also he was the one who broke the story that 88% of athletic directors from the Division I level are in favor of college football playoff expansion. We'll also discuss what it could look like. 8 teams, 16, 6 teams, 12 teams, 16 teams. Brett was making the case that 16 teams, again, a lot of momentum. So we'll discuss with him his thoughts, what a college football playoff expansion could look like, and more importantly, when. We're halfway through a 12-year deal. Could we see it before, this deal is up in 6 years? Or are we going to have to wait, we're going to have 6 more years of debating who, eye test versus resume versus this team beat this team, but this team beat this team. There's a 2-loss SEC team getting. Should we just put all 4 SEC teams in at one time, screw everyone else? So we'll discuss that because I think it's very interesting. And again, if you're a college football fan, the worst part about the college football playoff is that it's all speculation and it's basically all preference. And what you think, makes the best team doesn't mean that someone else thinks that the best team is this. And it's just a lot of speculation off the field, more on the field. So we're going to discuss that with Brett in just a few minutes here. And also, I want to kind of debut a new game here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's going to be short-lived, unfortunately, because we don't have that much time. But the NFL Draft is, again, on Thursday, so we will have our draft needs right after Brett Murphy. We have NFC North, the rest of those teams, and as well as the Falcons and the Saints to start the NFC South. But also, now it's kind of really the draft season, right? We have the draft coming up on Thursday, but especially with it being virtual, a lot of teams, I think, are going to try to get a head start at working to either trade up or trade down. We heard a bunch of teams looking to trade down. We heard a few teams looking to trade up. So we're going to try to, at least now with the rumor season full in effect, with a lot of these reports getting leaked out, whether they're purposely getting leaked out by teams wanting to kind of create a buzz, create a stir, that, wow, maybe we really should trade up or, we should really be aggressive and up our offer because maybe some teams are looking to trade up with this team. But there's plenty of teams like the Lions, the Giants, the Browns, rumored to be trading back. Now, the latest breaking news, the 49ers maybe are trading both of their picks. They have 2 first-round picks, number 13, which they got from the Colts, and number 31. Are they looking to trade back? So we're just kind of discussing even, Leonard Fournette in the trade block. Are these rumors realistic? Could these teams, what they're floating out there, is it realistic for it to happen? Could they actually trade back? Could the Lions go from number 3 to whatever, number 5, number 8, number 10? Would a team trade up to number 3 to draft presumably Tua or Justin Herbert? Would the Giants, would a team trade up to number 4? So it kind of flush us out, realistic or reach. And also an interesting comment about Dave Gettleman from another general manager, basically saying that Dave Gettleman is playing all of us in the media. He's a lot smarter than we think. Rumor or reach, we'll get into that in just a little bit as well in the second hour. But when we come back, Brett McMurphy, again, of Stadium, was the one who sent out this anonymous survey to 112 athletic directors, was able to get a ton of feedback about what a possible college football season could look like. Could we have a college football national championship on Memorial Day weekend in 2021? Could we have, no more non-conference games and start the season in October? Could we have a season to where we have a break in between? A winter break where we start in October, winter break, resume in January and February. There's so many different options. So I think the one consensus, and we'll get Brett's take on this, I think he would agree, is that athletic directors, more than anything else, all agree that college football has to be played in one way or another. There's really no option and no athletic director right now agreeing that, yeah, we're not going to play. It's probably in our best interest not to play. The revenue is too great. The revenue is too important to fund other sports and fund the athletic department, that if that football revenue doesn't come in and doesn't come in close to what they're used to getting, which means fans in the stands, which means, 100,000 seat stadiums being packed week after week. If that doesn't happen, college sports could be in for a gloom and doom 2020, 2021, and moving forward. So we'll discuss that with Brett and also college football playoff expansion. I think almost every college football fan, for the most part, is in agreement that the college football playoff needs to expand. What does that look like? 14. We have 4 teams. 6 teams, 8 teams, 12 teams, 16 teams. We'll get Brett's thoughts about what expansion could look like and when we could expect expansion and all that when we come back with Brett McMurphy right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
And welcome back in to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Morning Boys here with your host, Ryan Hickey. Now we do welcome in Brett McMurphy, Stadium College Football Insider. Very excited for this because Brett was the man before The Last Dance came out last night on ESPN, was the man who gave us a ton of content to talk about these last few weeks, whether it was college football playoff expansion, and more importantly, different options if college football does not start on time, how we could see college football at some point in the academic year. So, Brett, we do welcome you on here. Thanks so much for giving us a few minutes. How are you this morning?
Good to catch up with you.
Same, likewise as well. So, Brett, I think it's, obviously no one knows the real answer, right? Whether will sports return, if they return, when they return. So at least I guess it's safe to assume at this point, can we pretty much assume that college football will not start on time in August? And if so, that's probably also the case that we will not have 100,000 seat stadiums with fans in it if college football was to start in August?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be hard to get going in August. As you mentioned, I reached out to all 130 athletic directors in the past few weeks and asked them their thoughts on if the season is delayed, what are some of the options, and it was, varied from starting in October, November to even starting as late as after the Christmas break. So it does seem unlikely. We're still a little more than 4 months away from the start of the college football season. It does seem unlikely we will start on time. There's 7 games set for August 29th, including Navy and Notre Dame in Ireland. And I don't think anybody actually believes that Navy and Notre Dame will be able to play in Ireland. But it's still scheduled. It looks unlikely, but we'll see. I mean, everybody's, like everybody listening, and you and I, we're all waiting for the all clear when things can go back to normal or as close to as normal as before. And until we get that notification, whether it's medical official, government officials, society in general, whatever that is, all these athletic directors have all these plans in place, but they just don't know when they can implement them until they get that green light.
So speaking of, let's hit on some of those plans, like you said, because you kind of outlined 4 different ideas that athletic directors kind of gave to you that said, if college football doesn't start on time, here are some ideas about how we can fit in the season and still try to make as much revenue as possible despite it not starting on time. And that was, like you said, you maybe span over 2 semesters, start it in October, November, have a winter break, and then resume in January, February. You can move the entire season, have some spring football where you hinted at and said we can have a college football playoff national title Memorial Day weekend, which would just be, from a viewing perspective, absolutely crazy. We have one option I think we can already rule out, which is, classes are online in the fall, but players are still allowed to come back. I think the vice president, when you had some of those conference commissioners talk with vice president, that was kind of the one outline and one idea they said that probably won't happen. And another idea you had was cut out the September schedule, basically cut out the non-conference and have our 8 or 9 game conference schedule start in October. So out of those 3, with 2 of those ideas spanning into the spring semester, what is the most realistic if we were going to have football or as close to college football as we know it sometime during this academic calendar?
Well, I mean, really, it's impossible to say because it's all dependent on when we get the all clear. If we get the all clear in September and you can get things going, then they have a decision. They can take all 3 of those options. Obviously, they would prefer to play a 12-game season for revenue purposes as opposed to a conference-only season. But there is some concern among the athletic directors that they don't want to, if possible, they don't want to play at the same time as March Madness for basketball. Certainly, if you start in the spring, you're not going to be able to avoid that. But if you can start in October, November, then you could get the season wrapped up in March before the NCAA basketball tournament, because obviously that's a big deal money-wise or financially for the NCAA and more importantly for the member institutions. So it's not really that anyone says, hey, this is the best option. It's just like, again, when can we put these plans in place, and then we'll figure out which way to go. So, if we don't get the all clear until, November, December, then we probably have to wait until after the Christmas break. My opinion on what I think happens, there's no way we're going to start on August 29th. That's just my opinion only. I think it's very unrealistic that these university presidents are going to allow all these students to come back on campus, all these students from all over the world to come back on campus in the fall, And so because of that, I think a lot of major universities are just going to do online classes only. So if you can't have the students on campus, as you mentioned, you can't have the student athletes. And so then there would be no football in the fall. So that would either mean the academic year would get moved back, and instead of starting in late August, they would maybe move it to October or November. That's certainly an unknown. And then, so that way the season could start then. Or if they basically say, well, no, we're doing online courses for the entire fall semester, then the next best option would be to start, late January, early February. And, yeah, that would make for a lot of issues. As you mentioned, Memorial Day could be when the season ends. The next season would be starting just a couple months after that. It would conflict with the NFL draft. You'd probably have a lot of high caliber projected NFL draft picks such as Trevor Lawrence at Clemson and others that probably would sit out the season if it doesn't start until February. But you know what? It's better than the alternative of no football, and make no mistake, the athletic directors know how critical that is. And again, as long as the health and safety of the student athletes will not be compromised, they are going to find out the best way to try to get some part of the season in, again, depending on when we get the all clear.
We're talking with Stadium College Football Insider Brett McMurphy. Follow Brett on Twitter at Brett_McMurphy. Ton of great nuggets and info there from the college football world. Brett, so I guess it's safe to say that the ones who are going to control college football in terms of return are going to be the university presidents and governors, right? Is that basically to say, we heard a lot of coaches, athletic directors speak out, but it's safe to say it's going to be up to the university presidents, like you said, to have students on campus or not, and these governors to allow kind of the all clear to happen. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think the governors, the health officials, the government officials, they're going to determine when, we can start gathering together in groups. So when everyone's not limited in the stay-at-home quarantines and those sort of things. So once those things are lifted, then the next thing would be the university presidents. And then they have to make a decision on if they're going to have classes on campus. Certainly they will be getting input from their athletic directors, and also the Power 5 conference commissioners will have some input as well. But certainly a coach is not going to determine when the season is going to start. An athletic director is not going to determine when the season is going to start. But the athletic directors are in constant contact with the presidents, and so it's kind of going to go down, roll down the hill that way. A lot of people ask me, what's the drop-dead date we need to look forward to know if we're going to have college football or not. There's not really a date that I would say, okay, if we don't have something resolved by this date, then we're not having it. But I think what you need to look for, if people have an interest in that, is I think when we get towards the end of May, the 1st of June, I would expect some of these universities to start making decisions on whether they're having classes on campus or not. And I think those schools will make their individual decisions. And once that information comes out, I think you'll kind of get an idea if we're going to have college football in the fall or not. Because certainly if a lot of schools are coming out saying we're not having classes on campus, then you're not going to have a conference come out and say, well, you know what, we're still going to play football because they can't. So I think we'll hear from the individual schools before we get kind of a blanket announcement from the Power 5 commissioners, who will be the ones that announce together, kind of what the plan is. So we're probably another 30 to maybe 60 days away from that definitive answer.
And like you said, we already see schools, even big-time schools like Ohio State, already put all their summer classes online. So like you said, it's going to be, it's starting to get closer and closer for these schools to make a decision about fall classes being online or not. And obviously, like you said, if they're online, probably won't see college football at all during the fall. We are talking with Brett McMurphy from Stadium. So, Brett, you kind of hit on it, too. Like you just said, coaches and athletic directors aren't going to be the ones that get football back. I found it interesting over the last few weeks that college football coaches, more than any other, coach in any other sport, are the ones that are speaking out and the most defiant about return, right? You had obviously Mike Gundy, his epic, if you want to call it, rant about getting these players back on campus and getting money through the state of Oklahoma again. You had Dabo Swinney definitively saying that, come in August, their Clemson's going to be packed with fans and they're going to have their season as normal. don't know if there's really an answer to it, but is there maybe a reason why you think these coaches, more than, NBA coaches, MLB coaches, NHL coaches, those coaches whose seasons were actually stopped midway through, why college football coaches are so speaking out defiantly and basically trying to speak and will into words that college football was played on time and is unaffected compared to any other sport, or any other coach, I should say, in any other sport?
Yeah, you kind of said it, kind of trying to will in words. That's kind of their DNA. That's their makeup. It's like they're in the locker room making this passion speech to go win one for the Gipper or whatever. They obviously do not have any different information or more information than
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Coming up next here on the RTF Sports Network.com radio network is Lakers Fast Break. Full hour talk of NBA at Los Angeles Lakers talk. Enjoy. And that was Lakers Fast Break with your host, Gerald Glassford. Join them next week, same time, same place, rtfsportsnetwork.com, 3 p.m. East Coast time. Lakers Fast Break.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
For the latest information, news, and analysis of the Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA, check out the Lakers Fast Break podcast every Tuesday night at 9, right here at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Are you ready? I said, are you ready? You're rocking with the heavyweight champs of sports talk.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Brandon Way and Brandon Rudolph.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
Tune in to Opinionated Facts, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on the RTF Sports Network. And we're back again every Sunday at 12 noon on Facebook Live.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Only on the Opinionated Facts Facebook page, presented by TCP Network.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
And that was Lakers Fast Break with your host, Gerald Glassford. Join them next week, same time, same place, rtfsportsnetwork.com, 3 p.m. East Coast time. Lakers Fast Break.
What's up, y'all? You know who it is. It's your boy Dylan from On and Off the Field with Durf and Dylan. So I'm just coming to let you know, on the RTF Sports Network, this show will now be live from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. If you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, you can listen to the show live from there and on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be an amazing show that is all about the fans. Also, when you go to rtfsportsnetwork.com, make sure to vote for On and Off the Field as the show of the month for April. If we win that, money is going to charity. You can count on that.
The snow is melting and it's starting to warm.
Is this for the new commercial?
This is the new commercial. We're recording. Why is it you always cut me off?
Guys, calm down. Let's just start it over.
It's too late. We have to start our show, which is Twist, the weekend sports talk, where you can hear banter like this with sports and interviews. Hear us on the RTF Sports Network, Mondays at 8 Eastern. Also, like our page on RTF Sports Network and check us out at rtfsportsnetwork.com.
What's going on, everybody? Whether you're practicing social distancing of 6 feet up to 6 miles, you can still party with On and Off the Field, where you can listen to the best NFL and charity-based podcasts out there on the RTF Sports Network. You can follow them on Facebook or go to rtfsportsnetwork.com and check out the show Thursdays from 4 to 5.
Are you looking for a veteran-based sports podcast? Tune in right now at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. to Hares and the Doggy Show. Join us. It's going to be great, guys.
The socially distanced NFL Draft is finally here, and you can follow all the action at betonline.net. Wondering who will be the first, second, and third draft pick? Do you know if more offensive or defensive players will be taken in the first round? Have a hunch on how many trades will take place in the first round? Maybe you're into oddities like how many draftees' dogs will be shown during first-round coverage. Before the draft goes live, head over to betonline.net for the latest props, lines, and odds. Bring the draft home with betonline.net.
Head movement, head movement, head movement, head movement, head movement. My aunt had to say I had a long road back with you, fear me. This is number one bullshit. Absolutely, man. I'm about to give him coast-to-coast ass whooping. We'll make him go face down, ass up once again. It's the years of the dog, baby.
What is up, everybody? Episode number 16. Holy cow. Episode number 16. It's your boy, Johnny O'Neill, your host as always. I'm here with my co-host, Dylan Newbro.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
We don't have a template.
That's all right. We can figure it out.
It's all right.
Guess what I'm pulling up right now, though?
What are you doing?
We can talk about it now. We can figure it out later.
Let's roll right into it, man. Fuck it.
May 9, 2020. What's that mean to you?
Holy fucking shit. You just blew my mind.
Dude.
You know what got me excited?
What got you excited?
Watching the fucking face-to-face shit on, I think it was another Instagram page. It was just flipping through what your favorite face-off was for, like, championships.
Okay.
You remember when Joanna and Rose faced off? And Joanna had the fucking rosary in her hand? And Rose was just fucking saying, like, verses from the Bible?
No.
Oh, dude, that shit was so intense. You don't remember that?
Uh-uh.
Oh, my God, bro. That's hands down my favorite fucking face-off.
That
of all
sounds fucking
UFC
dope.
of all time.
I couldn't.
bro.
Yeah, I'm not big
just
on
the caliber
face-offs.
of what that was. It was insane. And those two females were just fucking alphas. Like, they're just no bullshit, fucking crazy as fuck.
Those were fun fights. Fun.
What's your
fights.
favorite face-off of all time?
I don't know. Give me. Man, I don't really watch the face-offs. I didn't really start watching the face-offs till like a year ago with you
dig that
guys.
shit, though. You know I love that shit. I'm a huge Rocky fan.
Rocky?
Like the whole movie of the
yeah.
fight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. No, now I get it for sure. It's cool. It's the hype.
For sure.
But
I definitely think Connor, Jose Aldo.
Oh, yeah.
Jose Aldo. That
for
was
sure.
a freaking crazy face-off.
They had some sick face-offs, yeah.
Connor has a lot of cool face-offs.
Oh, yeah. He's the king. The king is back, baby. Let's jump into it. You mentioned Jose.
Yeah, Jose is fighting.
Here you go.
May 9th.
Fucking local boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Local boy.
Colorado's own.
Hold on. I feel like a casual right now.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me catch up.
I'm going to sip my whiskey.
You know where I'm at right now.
You think, and I'm going to tell you that this whiskey is delicious, my friend. I appreciate this.
Jose Aldo is fighting fucking Triple C.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The freaking king of cringe.
The king of cringe. That'll be a fun fight.
You confuse me with Colorado boy because he doesn't claim it. He
No, that's why I said
New
it, though.
Mexico boy, though. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But he grew up here.
Fucking went to high school here.
Yeah.
They had him on the side of a building, like 20 by 20.
Got here,
yeah. For how
they
long?
Painted it white.
Since you were a kid?
Yeah, bro. Every time going down I-25, hey, there's the wrestler.
Yeah.
I never knew who he was.
And now you know.
Yeah,
he's the king, bro.
Yeah, he's the fucking king of cringe. Where's this gold medal? Why isn't it on the fucking, mural?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It should be up there more even now
Yeah, you should.
than anything.
Absolutely. With his belts, painted on top of the mural just to build the ego even more. Sorry if we have background noise a little bit. The puppies are out, and it's, whatever.
It is whatever.
Yeah. But that's what the background noise is, and I'm going to mute my phone.
You say puppies, but in reality, one's a giant dog.
Yeah, he is like 89.
What kind of dog do you think he is? He's a mix. I mean,
Yeah. I told you they were going to start
chilling.
Tug of war.
Oh, there. They got the rope.
As I told, just give them one rope. If you give them 2 ropes, they're going to fucking destroy it. Each one of them. But Grady is a German Shepherd Husky mix.
Mm.
And Scout is just a straight up fucking Belgian Velociraptor Malinois.
They do their thing.
Yep. Independent woman.
Who do you got in that fight right now? Really predicts.
I'm going with the king of cringe. I
Same.
think Jose is. I
think
he's been banked one too many times. If I can say that.
I agree. Well, he's never been the same after.
What's his name?
Connor. 13
What's
seconds.
That guy's name? The Bink. He trademarked that now.
Robin Black.
Yeah, Robin Black. There you go. Thank you. We had to say his name.
You had to say.
Go follow Robin Black. Bink.
Yeah. I love that shit.
Yeah,
he's got good ones.
He's got a good voice. But yes, that's who I have. I have.
That's the main event.
Oh no shit!
Apparently, yeah.
Who's is Rose is out? So who's filling in for Rose?
It's a whole new fight.
Oh no shit! So Jessica Andrade is out too.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a women featherweight fight.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't even looked at this whole card yet, so you're like surprising me right now.
Oh, bro. Hold on.
I just glimpsed at it, bro. Really.
Jeremy showed me this morning.
Yeah.
This morning? Maybe it was yesterday. Regardless.
So who's
insane, dude?
Who's co-main event?
The co-main event is Amanda Nunes.
Holy shit.
And Felicia Spencer.
Felicia Spencer, remind me.
I don't know. How can I remind you? I mean, she's 8-1.
She is? Okay.
Yeah.
She's not made like a huge name for herself.
She definitely has.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just haven't watched her fights.
Right. But
maybe she's just like
it'll be a fun fight. But hopefully Amanda doesn't just knock her out in 10, 15 seconds. Don't worry about it, dude.
What's her name?
Felicia Spencer.
Felicia Spencer? Do we follow her on Instagram?
I don't know, but go ahead if you want.
Fuck you, bro. I care about these are actual people.
Yeah,
Shut up, man.
right.
I don't want to be like, yeah, fuck that bitch.
I don't know. Well, I didn't say that. I don't know how I was treating them.
People just talk.
But they are actual
you
people.
Don't know.
You're correct.
Yeah, exactly. They're athletes. Felicia what?
Spencer.
Felicia Spencer.
They are athletes. Let me keep rolling through this card.
Yeah, keep going.
Heavyweight fight.
We just gave her a follow. Felicia Spencer. Canadian-born, raised Florida girl. We'd love to have you on the show. Fuck yeah. Phenom479 on Instagram.
Fabricio Verdun's coming back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Veteran. UFC vet.
He's fighting Aleski.
Good job. Good try.
There you
bro.
go.
Hey, man. You want to let me give it
If
a
you
throw?
want, let me. Well, hold on. Let me.
give a
I don't want
toss
you to
at it.
see the rest of the card.
Okay.
So you've
We'll
already
go
seen.
back to it. We'll go back.
No,
to
you're
it.
good. It's the bottom one. You're good.
The bottom.
What do you think?
Olenek.
Sure.
Aleski Olenek.
There you go.
Or yeah. Or,
I've seen him fight before. It'll be a
it's
fun fight. Headhunters, dude. Those are.
Oleaneki? I don't know.
I don't want to know where he's from. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. It definitely looks like a ski country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely does.
They like their vodka.
Yes.
And or gin.
And or. Do you like gin? Have you had gin?
I've had gin in high school. Like, it was under the bed of one of my friends, and he was like, hey, man, you want some gin? I was like, yeah, this tastes weird. It doesn't taste like vodka at all. Kind of has a weird fucking, like, I don't know.
Tastes like pine cones.
Yeah, like herbal.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just going to say herbal. Like,
yeah,
almost like a
like you're
freaking-
drinking pine sol.
100%. Yeah.
I hate
not
gin.
a fan.
Not a fan.
What did Negronis have gin in it?
Yep.
Those
It's
are
3
not bad.
parts, dude.
Yeah, Negronis, vermouth.
That's why
and
Negronis fuck you up.
Campari. Campari? Yeah.
Good shit, dude. Because I would not have remembered that.
Yeah.
But I remember it's an ounce of each. It's a shot of each.
That's Anthony Bourdain's shot.
Yeah.
Who else is on the main card for that fight?
Oh, there's a shitload, dude.
You got to zoom out. You got to zoom out because you were looking at that. name. I was trying to pronounce it. It's all good.
Oh, give me a second. Big
Green
cat.
wants to go outside so bad again, but it's not happening. He just went outside. I take care of my puppy.
There's a lot of people's names. I have no idea.
Oh, come on,
There's
man.
another heavyweight fight.
Pronounce them. Say them out loud. Give them a shout out. Fucking, it doesn't matter if they're
Nogueira's
nobodies.
back. Antonio Nogueira. Rogi.
Oh, yeah, one of the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I can never tell them apart. One of them has a chin, the other doesn't.
See, what's confusing me is this.
Antonio has the chin, doesn't he?
This doesn't. This is what I was looking at. I don't think was an updated card because it didn't sound that exciting.
Isn't the main event Gagey Ferguson?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then another one is, I think it's not what I just said.
Ngannou and Shevchenko, the other one that was supposed to be happening but is now canceled.
It is new. That card. What I just said was jacked up. Jose Aldo is not fighting Henry Cejudo.
Hold on 1 second. I got to take this rope toy from Scout because she's absolutely destroying it.
Go ahead, man. I know who he's fighting. That pit.
I'm not taking this on the podcast.
No, go ahead, man. I'm still gonna sit here and sip this. What is this? Is
That is
pine
the special edition Peach Crown Royal.
Peach Crown Royal. You did it, Peach Crown Royal. You did it. You figured it out, man. You figured out a delicious drink.
Sons of bitches.
It doesn't need anything.
This is squeaky. This is not. There you go. And there you go. Be happy. Be married. And tear the plastic toys up that don't make noise. Yeah, that's
Here's
pretty
the
good.
hearth to the company.
I was making that with freaking, you're going to laugh, vitamin water lemonade. It was what was in the fridge. I was like, fuck it.
Doesn't need
sounds good.
anything.
It doesn't.
No.
But I was like,
But that
trying
would
to
be
make a drink
delicious.
for Emily, you know?
Oh, for
Trying
sure.
to sweeten it up a little bit.
Jeremy had to have sent that to me. Here we go. Yes, dude, for sure. That I don't know what Google must be, a little behind because of the quarantine
I
situations.
think
but
it was on Instagram.
Ferguson Gaethje,
Okay, you
for
got it?
sure, is going on. Right. Cejudo Cruz.
Yes.
Dude.
Dominic Cruz.
Dominic
Bro,
Cruz.
I think
Who do you
he's-
got
he's
now?
funky, bro.
In that fight,
He's got
who do you
that
got?
funky footwork,
Who
bro.
you got in that
know what
fight
I'm
now?
talking about?
Dude, I know.
He's got that funky footwork back.
Who do you got?
Cruz.
100%.
100%.
It'll be a fun fight.
He's mad, bro.
But
he's big mad, bro.
Cejudo
He's coming back with a vengeance.
surprised me in that fight to
Against
win his title.
Morales?
That fight too, but to win his title
Oh, yeah. Freaking
against
DJ.
Mighty Mouse, yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
bad for him,
he surprised me.
I love him so much as a person, bro. Like, my heart goes out to him because he's not the household name he should be. And I think he's gotten more.
Oh, it's so strange, yeah.
He's gotten more like clout since he's left.
Right.
Because now everybody appreciates him. It's like, oh shit, man. We fucking lost DJ. You know?
Mhm.
It's like, we really appreciate you, DJ. Fuck, everybody's giving you love now. It's like, fuck you.
He's got a
But-
huge Twitch following.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like everybody's like kind of like appreciating him more now because he should have had that at the UFC, but he didn't.
It's
You know what I'm
very
saying?
strange.
He was
Yeah,
still
I
doing
agree.
that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
And it's just now blowing up because he's at Ryzen.
Ryzen?
Yeah.
Or ONE FC?
Exactly. What the fuck?
Because
We're
he's not
assholes.
in Bellator.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're fans of this person. It's like we don't even know what fucking promotions he's at anymore.
Because there's line fighting. There's
Yeah,
another one.
and I'm terrible at watching that, about watching those other promotions too.
They should be feeding them to me. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to keep up with all of them.
Oh, I
You
know.
It's like, fuck, I don't want to stream all of them. You know, it's like I feel
Exactly.
bad. But then it's like, if you want to spend money, it's like, holy shit, I gotta fucking spend $300. So it's like I gotta try to catch up with like clips and stuff.
Right.
And not everybody puts out the hottest, greatest clip of all time. You know, you kind of have to be the one that watches the raw footage. That you know.
You know what I'm going to bring up right now?
What's up?
Because I'm going to forget, and I don't want to forget.
Yeah.
And it's right up what you were saying. Did you see? No, I think we talked about it last time. Shannon Briggs going to bare knuckle.
Oh yes, the
Dude,
WWE champion.
I'm still stoked about that.
No, he's a boxing champion.
Yeah.
Shannon the Cannon.
Dude.
Yeah. Who was I thinking about before that?
He's going to hurt people.
Who's the WWE
He's
guy?
still huge. He can still move. It's crazy.
I need to watch more Shannon Briggs.
Dude, just go on his Instagram.
Yeah.
And watch him. He spars fucking,
Yeah.
you know,
I've seen
20-year-old,
him before.
30-year-olds.
He does like a lot of social media
Beats
right
him
now,
up.
doesn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's huge. Let's go, champ.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I've seen him then mostly because I don't really know who he is beyond that.
Dude, dope.
But
Sick.
Shannon Briggs. Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
So you got Cruz in that fight?
Yep. Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, that was really it. But Tony Ferguson, who do you got? Who do you got there? You stoked about that fight?
I'm going
Tony versus Ferguson.
My ego wants to say Ferguson, but the martial artist in me and the fucking like, come on, bro, like be real, you know, kind of person in me is like, Justin Gaethje knows what the fuck he's doing in a fight, hands down. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that Tony Ferguson is like, you know, just ego, but I think there's a lot of fucking hype behind him. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think it's justified? I
do think it's justified though, but I think there's a lot that's happened in his life personally beyond that. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
Is he still hungry?
Oh yeah.
You think?
He's never won a title.
Tony?
Oh
yeah.
He's been interim.
Yeah, bro.
And there's a lot of people he hasn't fought yet.
He hasn't. He has yet to be risen in the fucking like what's it called? The king's chair. What is it called?
I don't know.
The heir, the throne.
Oh, okay.
Like, fucking put into the throne as king of that fucking, you know,
division.
Yeah, division and risen. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like
yeah.
he's always been given the fucking interim belt, or he's
Because
been
someone's
given,
been
like,
hired. It was like he couldn't fight Conor when shit was going on. He couldn't fight Khabib. Shit was going crazy.
Yeah, bro.
Insane. And so it's like, how can you fault the guy, you know?
And you can't really, because I mean, there's a lot going on in your head trying to prepare for a fight as it is. I can't imagine having a mental illness and, you know, trying to focus on shit.
I stopped. What's the word I'm looking for? Shit. I can't think of it. I stopped. I want to say giving up on, but I don't want to say that. I stopped doubting Tony Ferguson like 3 fights ago. You know what I'm saying? He likes to eat toys. He thinks maybe they're... Oh, it's a big old, like a rubber puck. He's a giant
pieces of it are going to be in his poop later. I do not want to take my dog to the fucking...
You got to make sure.
Especially the emergency vet right now since everything's fucking closed. Like, fuck you, dude.
Do surgery on your dog yourself.
Yeah. Think about it, bro. I know you're a dog, but shit, man. Everything's closed down. Think about it.
Get him real drunk until he passes out. Yeah. Like they did with the old days when they didn't have anesthesia, you know?
We were just talking about Tony Ferguson and how much I was doubting
I
him.
stopped giving up on him in fights. Like I stopped saying he was gonna lose fights. Like fucking 3 fights ago.
I think I should do that, yeah.
Every
But
time,
I
dude.
think my ego gets in the way of it. It's like, I want Justin Gaethje to win because he's from Colorado, though, too.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's going to be
It's
a
like rooting for my
fucking
roots.
great fight.
You know what I'm saying?
But they're both
Plus, I
going to get
know
beat
he's
up.
a fucking good fighter. Like, he is a brawler.
Oh, yeah.
That is an awesome matchup.
Yeah. It's
So
going to
my
be great.
My heart's with Colorado. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
But my money's with Tony.
Okay, if you were in Vegas.
If I was in Vegas, my money's going to Tony.
But if you were betting
Justin
in Colorado.
Gaethje's money's probably going to Tony, too, on any given day. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know,
Maybe,
if
yeah.
I don't know.
I think they're
But
I think they're right up
that's
there.
hard to say.
I think they're both
That's
contenders for
bullshit.
the belt. You know what I'm saying?
That's a bullshit thing. I take that back 100%. Sorry. That was.
I think they're both right up there with contenders.
Yeah. This is a fight between two guys that definitely deserve the fucking belt.
Yes. Easily. At any other time, could have had the belt.
Gaethje beat the fucking brakes off of Cerrone. Didn't he? No.
They both. I don't remember Gaethje fight with Cerrone. Did he?
Yeah, they fought. Yeah, Gaethje got his ass whooped. Or Gaethje whooped Cowboy's ass.
Yeah, but I remember the Ferguson fight with Cerrone.
Let me fucking.
Anybody who Tony fights
brain
looks like they got
refresh.
hit by a train.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna feel like an idiot. Oh, Google's telling me I'm an idiot.
Google Italy.
Gaethje versus Cerrone fight.
Never happened.
Yes. Knockout. Gaethje won. Fucking knocked out Donald Cerrone in round number 1 in Vancouver.
Cool.
So I was like, holy shit, did I just make this up in my head? Because I definitely saw it.
You didn't,
and
dude.
We watched it together.
Yeah, we had.
Yeah.
Where?
After that, after I watched Gaethje fucking start Cerrone, I was like, holy fucking shit. And that also makes me question, like, my fight history, too, because we've been watching a lot of fucking Olympic shit.
Yeah.
Like, I've been watching so much old film of fights, and it's so great, because, like, I just really found my love for fighting again. You know what I'm saying? As a spectator.
For sure.
It's like, you really remember the people that made you
fall in love with it.
Yes, bro. Forrest Griffin, bro.
Yes.
Shout out Forrest Griffin.
Well, they just put out that
bro,
him and that
he's
Stephen
such a
Bonner
fucking-
fight.
Oh, yes, Stephen Bonner. That Ultimate Fighter won.
Won.
Yeah, bro. What? How many seasons were there? 25?
They're still going, aren't they?
I don't even know. Honestly,
I don't know
stopped
either.
watching after like 20.
Yeah. After 20, you watched 20 of them?
I didn't.
Oh.
They were recorded on the DVR.
Oh.
at my house.
Yeah.
Like Dawn recorded them.
There's
and
some
they were
good
always
clips
there.
from that show,
Oh,
though.
100%.
We were just thinking about
Fucking
one.
Rampage.
Let me bang, bro.
Oh, yeah. I want to bang. I know you want me to bang, bro. What? Like, what that whole conversation?
I just want to bang.
What?
Okay.
What?
Do you mean fight?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But he's from the street.
Yeah, they're just misguided souls, man.
Misguided souls.
Fucking bleached, fucking pierced and tattooed.
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously, bro.
He had
All those
red hair,
guys
red
were like,
mohawk.
in California in the 90s were like bleached hair and weird tattoos.
The
Like,
surfer
they're all like
vibe.
Steve-O. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
And the guys that fought like that were those kind of personalities too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Nate Diaz was like a very high IQ version of that at that time, and that's why I think he got a lot of people to follow him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do know what you're saying.
he was considered upper echelon of that time.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of not a joke, but he's a novelty now. You know what I'm saying? He is his own celebrity. People try to be like Nate Diaz now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
He's got a character,
It's
a vibe.
persona.
Yeah,
It's
persona,
like
exactly.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
If you see two people in black T-shirts walking down the street, it's like, that's Diaz brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, I hear what
it's
you're
kind of
saying.
funny, you know. But
I hear what you're saying, but that's May 9th.
yeah, bro.
This year.
Diaz is coming back?
No, I never said
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry.
You said that in
I
your
got
head.
excited in my
You're
head.
dreaming. Fucking
I
dreaming.
want him to come back.
What do you think, though? It's good, huh?
Yeah. I don't think you covered all of the fights.
No, I didn't. But I covered the main.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted you to hear. That's all I cared about, what you wanted to hear. You know who else I do care about, though? That maybe
I care about all of them right now.
Well, I mean, let's...
You're getting angry with
Yeah,
me.
no, not angry. Just, I don't even know. Can't even.
And that's all right.
Can't even word it.
That's a good segue to our sponsor right now, New View Pharma. Thank you, New View Pharma, for all of our awesome strains and concentrates. We consume you and love you every day.
Every day.
Every day. That's a good ad.
That's a good ad.
Let's record that and fucking make that the one every time.
Make it.
Make it.
Make it.
Make it. It's
Make it.
It's such a little kid thing to say.
Definitely is. But why be an adult? Why even try to word? Did you hear I tried to say it? Adult?
You're wearing a fucking pastel Easter fucking hat.
Dude, I figured out this year.
Every fucking day.
I figured out this year.
And I love it, bro. And everybody vibes with it.
I didn't even know what to call them, but I like pastel colors.
Yeah, bro. They're definitely pastel colors.
I like them. I vibe with them. Truly.
They're soft.
I didn't call them pastels. I
They're
just
warm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like baby color. It's like baby color.
I want to say that. I don't say that. I want to say that.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you.
It's okay. I just want to say that.
I'm putting a label on it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Don't.
I shouldn't. They're your colors, bro.
And I just realized this year that they represented
your
Easter.
Colors, because it's
you know
not
what I'm
even.
saying?
Then they're not even. Now that I look at them,
Mhm.
it is the pastel version of red, white, and blue. Look at them. Take your hat off.
I don't want to. It's a lot.
I know, but next time you take your hat off.
Yeah, I know there's yellow.
Other than the yellow,
There's
just
white.
looking at your hat.
There's like a off-white kind of.
Yeah, bro.
Beige,
but it's not
beige. Beige. Not
but
beige.
if you absorb the color scheme, you know what I'm saying?
The
If
red.
you look at it,
Yeah.
it looks like that color scheme of red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. And the yellow is just kind of everything's on fire at the top. It's a firework.
Wow.
Keisha's a fucking genius, bro.
Genius.
I'm going to thank her for that.
Without her even knowing.
Dude, now I think she did know. Within her heart.
She's fucking with us?
Yeah, bro. She was really intricate with it, and she just left it for you as a puzzle. And you just now figured it out. And now you can go to her and be like, hey, I figured out what your beanie means to me. That's where I'm at right now. Hey, bro, you gotta understand right now, okay?
I'm down. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down for sure.
Yeah. Different. I'm different.
Different, but okay.
I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. Pull up to the scene with a syllabus. Fucking 2 Chains, bro. Oh, bro. 2 Chains. 2 Chains is definitely one of an icon of our time for sure.
Yeah.
He's
Do you think he'll keep going and making music?
Nah. Why would he?
No, they usually don't, do they?
Yeah, it's he was here for his 5 to
1 or
7
2?
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, boom, baby.
How many songs
made my
do you
millions.
think he
Gonna go
would
fuck.
made him his money? How many songs?
Probably easy 5 to 10.
He had that many?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. 2 Chains was off the hook for a good 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean,
Makes sense.
As our generation, I don't know. You don't really appreciate hip hop like I do, though.
Okay, I don't like you, no, but I appreciate hip hop. Sure.
I watch documentaries about the history of hip hop and like pop culture, and how East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah,
I know you would.
Certain.
Yeah, and that's what's I'm kind of being judgmental about it, but I have watched them, and that's why I feel like I have a little bit more appreciation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, I definitely think hip hop in general and just music has been so crucial right now to humans. With this being fucking isolated all the time, we need to be around people, and it's awesome to have music because we have to be able to have that connection with people, and music brings that. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
And it's not a matter of being isolated. You know, you can still be connected with people because they're affecting you with their art. It's I'm really fucking by myself right now, but listening to the Queens makes me think about partying.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
So it's fuck yeah, I'm gonna listen to the Queens all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's like, you can do that. And that's what is so powerful about human beings creating art.
That's what I've been doing recently with.
Holy shit, bro! I'm spitting fire right now.
You really are. You have poetic thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Shout out Nicholas
Hey,
Punch.
yeah, I was wondering if you were gonna do it.
Can you hand me my water?
Where's that?
The Dickies cup, the yellow cup.
With that
behind
yellow
you.
cup?
Yeah, it's bright as fuck. Thank you. We need to be creating all the time.
Oh,
Or
that's. I
absorbing,
remember what I was gonna talk about, right?
You know.
Yeah, no, I've just been diving into like bands that I enjoy, but they're deep stuff. Like I'll start album 1, let's listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sweet, album 2, let's listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just sit and grind out video games, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk on the phone, bullshit. It's just in the background, but it's like I can say, yeah, I've heard all their fucking music, and if I hear one that fucking jives to me, and I've never, you know.
Bro, I know you. Like that's such a like a good personality trait to have. You know, because not a lot of people do that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't appreciate music like we appreciate music. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder that, man. I
Oh,
wonder
bro.
that because, like, I get chills listening to the good, like, for real passion grows in me when I hear
Oh, dude,
songs
I
that
get
I
emotional.
love.
Like
Yeah.
I get tears form. It's like
Yeah.
holy fuck. I know what these people are going through.
100%.
And it's like Credence, bro.
Oh God,
Like,
yeah,
that
dude.
shit brings tears to my
Bro, I've been listening to the fucking sea shanties from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You know what I'm talking about?
bro.
And it's just, you know, it's just dudes getting through the fucking day on their boat sailing to wherever. You know,
That's-
maybe America.
Like right now, man.
Yeah.
Because we know about it. Like it's human connection.
Exactly.
Like I know, you know.
And I think it is because we
It's
know
that
about
me
it.
too, you know, thing. I hate to use it, but it's like, hey, me too. Like
Yeah.
I've been through that shit.
Yes.
And a lot of it has been like muted, but fucking just be okay with it, you know? Like appreciate it. Embrace it all, you know?
Yes.
I think more people need to talk about that shit.
I wonder that, dude. Passion's a real thing because people are passionate about random
bro.
shit that
Yeah.
I'm not passionate about
Like
at all.
video games. I don't get that shit.
What do you mean? You play video games all the time?
I do, but it's
Yeah.
it's an escape for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's something to do. I mean, yeah, definitely.
It's
I'm
not
not.
a-
There are people who do treat it like. I mean, they don't go as far as
like
treat.
it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job.
And they stress. I don't stress about
Yeah,
that shit. I'm
I
not gonna
can't
stress about
imagine
it.
doing that, bro.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna stress
Yeah,
about that shit.
fuck.
Can't.
But people do that. That's their.
That's how
their,
you.
like,
That's
they make
literally.
money.
That is literally how you die early.
Oh man, I can't imagine like living your life, having to stay awake at the wee hours of the morning because that's where your audience is. You know what I'm saying?
I don't understand why. I do know what you're saying, and
Like
I
for
don't
live.
understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that because aren't you putting yourself in the shittiest time slot for TV at 4 a.m.?
Oh, 100%. And I think that's what's cool about like making it mainstream again. You know, like not
Yeah.
again,
Should-
but
8
making it
8 p.m.
mainstream.
Yeah,
fuck
that's
yeah.
every day. I'd be on
Every
8 p.m.
kid should be watching esports at fucking 8 a.m. in the morning.
And PM is like the fucking prime
Or,
time
like,
spot.
Like you know how like
Dinner's
cartoons
over.
in
We're
the
sitting
morning?
down watching TV. What are we gonna watch?
For sure.
Yeah, I mean that's like old
I get
TV.
Yeah.
Sitcoms.
Prime time.
Yeah.
I'm talking like for kids though, because that's like
Yeah. I guess you
think
just have to
about,
stretch
like,
it out.
Fortnite and shit like that. That's their prime market is 8 a.m. Saturday mornings. They play the freaking esports championship for Fortnite.
That's another thing.
You know what
I
I'm saying?
can't imagine living your life knowing all you do is appease 12-year-olds.
Like trying to put yourself in that mindset 24/7.
Yeah, because those are the people who, those are the kids. They're all kids. Kids run
That's how
YouTube.
you become insane, bro.
Definitely. Kids run the numbers on YouTube. Kids run the numbers on Twitch.
Yeah.
For sure. They're all under 20.
Oh my god.
Hands
Imagine,
down.
yeah, and they're 50-year-olds trying to put themselves in the
Please
minds.
like me.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is
Send me
this
money.
Is statistically, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
no, bro, we're past that. It's like 2 days ago.
Come on.
It's like that wasn't that cool of a meme, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it got 2 million likes, but it wasn't like, it didn't mean that much to us. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it was just a cool thing to like.
Dude, that's meme culture. Fucking 2 weeks.
That's
it's
what's
gone.
so cool about like, you have to be one with yourself. You know what I'm saying? To understand where everybody else is at. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
You can't just be like, hey, you know, kind of like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in that world, he is annoying because everybody else is in the understanding of, hey, that's not okay. But we understand that SpongeBob is all like us, and that's why we make him out to be, you know, the hero for us. You know, 'cause-
SpongeBob?
yeah, exactly. I'm just to make it a metaphor.
I think SpongeBob is a hero.
For sure. Because he points out all of the human flaws that we have that we don't, like, associate ourselves with every day.
Sure.
Like being a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be a kid every day.
Every day.
And I think everybody would be more included with, like, the culture of what's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like what we were talking about.
Yeah. There would be a culture.
The CEO trying to, you know, come up with marketing schemes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
For video games, for television, for all that shit. Going back to what we were talking about from the beginning. I know you're stoned.
Very.
Yeah. It's all good. I'm keeping track, and that's what's cool. I'm just like
tracking.
Zooming back.
I'm happy though. Life is good. Peach schnapps.
No, it's whiskey.
Peach whiskey.
Yeah. Crown.
It's not very schnappy. Your schnapps taste like whiskey.
Schnapps is
I
kind of sweet.
I think your Dr. Pepper went bad.
I think your Dr. Pepper went bad. Where's that from?
Oh, bro, I know you know. That's fucking...
It sounds like a Jonah Hill quote.
No, think way farther back.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's same vibes, right?
You know what
like
we'll do?
independent film.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like National Lampoon's kind of.
Mm-hmm.
God damn! Give it to me. Stop.
No.
Fuck
No.
you.
We're gonna.
You're an asshole.
I'm gonna keep sending you shit your way, and you'll get it.
Eventually, I'll
I'm gonna be vague.
My frontal lobe is getting angry at you.
Oh, angry! And if you're saying feed me.
Oh yeah, it's just like.
It's like the little shop of the plant from Little Shop of Horrors,
bro. Yes,
just growing.
Yeah,
yeah. Soon it's
like
gonna be
taking over, like a fucking virus. Stop.
Oh,
train of thought. Back on.
What were seriously? What were we
legit,
talking about?
I'm vibing with your sweatshirt. Right
This thing's legit fucking awesome. I love the OD green.
Yeah,
dude.
And your beard's dope as fuck. By the way.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, bro. I am.
Okay.
This isn't dated.
Well, should we go back to this? I remember what we were doing. I said your soda. I think your soda went bad.
Your Dr. Pepper's old.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the exact quote, but it's kind of along those lines.